Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the penultimate day, day 4 of the Irish Open Swimming Championships 2023 here in the National Aquatic Centre, Blanchardstown, Dublin. We've had some really great racing so far. Last night, some fantastic swims. Mona McSharry again with another Irish senior record in the women's 50-metre breaststroke, a time of 30.29. Getting really close to dipping under that 30-second mark. Grace Davison, another great swim from her. Irish junior record in the 100-metre freestyle of 56.8, I think it was. So we've got a pretty busy schedule this morning now, India.
Yeah, we've got another 7 events swimming this morning in our day 4 heats. We've got the women's 100-metre backstroke to start, followed by the men's 100-metre backstroke as well. We then move on to the women's 200-metre IM. We'll see Ellen Walsh returning to the pool there for that 200-metre IM this morning. We then move on to the men's 200-metre freestyle, followed by the women's 200-metre butterfly, the men's 200-metre breaststroke to follow that, and then we finish off the session with the women's 800-metre freestyle this morning. So again, some exciting swims this morning, Dave.
Yeah, some really good battles I'm looking forward to. The women's 100 back looks like it's going to be good. Danielle Hill obviously has dominated that for years and years, but Maria Godden's having a great meet. Had that great win in that 200-metre backstroke just off the World Championship consideration time, but she was still in good spirits and positive after it. So really interesting to see what she goes in. Obviously the men's 100 back as well. We've got John Short. He's been fantastic in India, hasn't he?
Yeah, to make that a world consideration time in the 200-metre backstroke, going that 2:00, I think, in the heat swim. So yeah, and then breaking it down was out to the 159.
Yeah, low,
yeah, so. in the final swim. So John's definitely on form for.
Interesting to see how close he can get to the likes of Shane Ryan and Conor Ferguson on that.
Absolutely, yeah. He was just a second off there. That Irish senior record, I guess, for the 200-metre backstroke, so set by Conor Ferguson. And then again, looking forward to the women's 200-metre IM this morning as well. We've got Ellen Walsh going into that 5th and final heat of the 200 IM. She has been focusing on it in her training recently, and we definitely know that she's on form, breaking that 100 fly Irish senior record the first day, so breaking it initially by a full second in the heat swim, and then bringing it down to that 57-second mark in the final swim as well.
Yeah, lots of good events on this morning. The first up is the women's 100-metre backstroke. There's 6 heats of this, just 2 lengths of the 50-metre pool. Men's and women's in the 100 back this morning. Just the 5 swimmers in the first heat to get racing underway on day 4.
Yeah, like you said, David, we have 6 heats of this event, so we'll have Danielle Hill swimming in the final heat. She is our Irish senior and Irish junior record holder in this event, so Irish senior record being held at 60.18 and the Irish junior record being held at 62.53. We're just quickly running down through the names of this first heat. We've got Dervla Brady in lane number 2, Poppy Nolan in 3, Isla McKelland in lane 4, Ciara Mooney in 5, and Shiva Brady in lane number 6.
Yeah, thanks, India. So first heat here, these swimmers just looking to post best times early doors. Wouldn't be expecting really to make second swims tonight, so just gotta get in there, give it a good go early doors. Obviously starting at 9:30 this morning. These swimmers will have been here from anywhere between 7:30 and maybe 8 o'clock to prepare, so that means up really early. So here we go. It looks like the minute comfortable lead for the swimmer in lane number 5. That's Ciara Mooney. So she's in on an entry time of 1:17.7. She's going to absolutely smash that. Thanks very much. 1:12.67 for Ciara Mooney.
Yeah, fantastic swim there from Ciara Mooney. So she took it out strong in that 36-second mark, I think, and then coming back in that 1:12. So really, really nice swim from our first heat. And like you said, David, so it's first heat, first event, you know, it's again big swim for these girls, and they're going to be posting they're going to be looking to post a fast time, because we only have 3 finals for this evening. So we've got our A, our B and our junior finals, so pretty much them just trying to look for that fast swim this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. It's tough going in the early heats. You gotta sort of going in blind, you gotta just swim your own race, get your hand on the wall as best you can. So these girls just waiting for the final swimmer to finish. It's Dervla Brady. She's a 1:57.25, so that's just outside her best of a 1:55. Yeah, as India said, that Irish senior record sits at a 60.18, so close to breaking that 60 mark. You know, it's not too long ago that the world record was only 59 something, so world record at the minute now for women is 57 point. So it's really, someone's really moving on the world stage, especially after COVID. It's just people have really moved on, whether it was the break from competitive competition, everyone sort of had a mental break and came back like stronger. I don't know, but there's world records dropping like flies.
Absolutely, and we can see Irish swimming is definitely dropping as well, with all the Irish senior and Irish junior records being broken this weekend, but also all our summer international meets, all the qualification times we're making this weekend, David, as well.
Yeah, there's been so many qualifiers for those under 23 championships. Of course, going to be held here in Dublin in August. It's going to be really exciting to have a competition such as that on home soil. Not too often that happens, but we do have the facilities to host events like that, so great to see that fast swimming's coming to the island. But here we go, heat 2 of 6, full heat now. Bit of a delay.
And again, like David said, moving on to heat number 2, so we have got an increase in speed here. We've got majority of our middle lanes holding that 1:12 mark, but just running down through the names again: Maeve Burke in 0, Sophie Black in 1, Sarah Gunning in 2, Nicola Brennan in 3, Caelan O'Connor in 4, Evan Ramsey in 5, Aoife Gardner in 6, Sarah McNally in 7, Rebecca Middleton in 8, and T. McWilliam in lane number 9. But it looks like we have a strong start here from our lane number 4. That is O'Connor of Sunday as well, just 14 years of age. She's going to be looking to post a fast time here this morning as well.
Yeah, it's O'Connor of Sunday as well. Rich Cassidy, the coach there, taking out the lead. On this 100 backstroke, you want to try and almost save the legs for this second 50, and then really hammer home the legs early doors of that second 50 and keep everything tight. Keep the rotation really good. Don't let the hips swivel from side to side. You want to keep everything going forwards. Keep that head really, really still. She's having a great swim here.
She's had an entry time of 1:12. It looks like, again, we're going to have a smash of a PB here. So it looks like she's going to be dipping below that 1:10 mark, just above. So 1:10.20 for Caelan O'Connor. So really, really strong swim again. 2-second PB in a heat swim.
Yeah, and the other, her teammate, Aoife Gardner, Sunday's Well Summer, coming in second as well. So good racing, girls. See, we have flags at 5 metres from each end of the pool to notify the swimmers that they know they're 5 metres out. So all these swimmers will know exactly how many strokes to take when they hit those flags. So they'll see the flags and they'll either have, 4, 5, 6 strokes. Some swimmers, even like Shane Ryan or the bigger sort of guys in the men's, will maybe only have 2 or 3. So it's really interesting to see how different swimmers turn. Some of them turn quite far away from the wall, some of them turn quite close. It's really important on backstroke to get that good push off and angle yourself downwards as opposed to just angling yourself completely horizontal, because if you angle yourself downwards, that gives you more of a chance to utilise the underwater kick, India, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and back roll, I guess, is probably the one stroke that you do have that big indicator of the flags and knowing exactly how many strokes you need to take into the wall. I guess with the kind of breaststroke and fly events, it's either counting your strokes or, like we spoke about before, on breaststroke you probably need to know what point you need to start shorten maybe strokes to hit the wall perfectly. So it's a good advantage for back rollers to know as soon as they start to see those flags exactly how many strokes they need to take to get into the wall without having to shorten strokes to nail it head on.
Yeah, backstroke was something I never really used to do, but really grueling. 200 back is a really grueling event, definitely. The 100 back as well. It's a sort of very individual kind of event. It's sort of, because the pressure is not on like your lats as much like it would be on fly or free. It's a lot more on like sort of right in the middle of your back and your hip flexors. So it's a real different feeling after the race than it would be than after 100 fly or 100 free.
Absolutely. 200 back roll and 1500 were the only events I never did, so I think I would have switched off on a 200 metre back roll. I definitely would have lost concentration on that one. Especially
if you're racing outdoors, you can't see what way you're going.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, heat 3, halfway through.
Again, just quickly running down through the names of heat number 3. So we've got Leah Jacobs in 0, Holly McInerney in 1, Naomi Smith in 2, Chloe Dawney in 3, Shauna Murphy in 4, Sarah Keane in 5, Orna Higgins in lane number 6, Maeve O'Rourke in 7, Jenna McArdle in 8, and Lara Stone in lane number 9. So again, kind of looking like lane number 4 might just slightly turn, but lane number 3 is taking it out strong as well. Our 2 swimmers, Chloe and Shauna, looking like they might just split here again, around 33-second mark.
Yeah, taking it out really, really well here. Mobility is so important on backstroke, to be able to rotate your shoulders right onto their side whilst maintaining level hips. It's really important. These swimmers not only are fit and extremely strong and powerful, they've got great mobility to be able to keep that head still and rotate on the axis. But as India said, it looks like lane number 3. Chloe Dawney just edging this one. Keep the legs going into the flags. Finish on a full stroke. It is going to be Dawney. Good finish there. She's in a 1:10.26. Just under her best of a 1:11.11. Big smiles from her. We always love to see that. Day 4 as well. It's tough coming in on day 4. It's a lot of these swimmers will have multiple races, so will be quite tired by now.
Absolutely, but it's nice to see that we're still clocking PBs in these previous heats as well. And like Dave was talking about there, it's a different kind of strength and different kind of mobility, I guess, you need to have for the back roll event. So it's a lot of kind of shoulder flexibility, shoulder stability as well. But it's a different kind of pull as well. So they do have to train differently strength-wise, I guess, as well, don't they? They
do, yeah. It's really hard on the shoulder. That's why Shane Ryan struggles with injuries with his shoulder, and he seems to find it okay to swim, fly and free. But then on backstroke, because you're more exposed, he says it hurts him a lot more. So it is a different event to the others, different mobility required. But we're into the first of our seeded heats here.
Yeah, we've got Lottie Cullen going in lane number 4. She's had a fantastic program so far as well. She's been kind of breaking a lot of her PBs. I think we had her going in the 50 free butterfly, where she was definitely one of the top 3 qualifiers anyway in one of those events.
Yeah, Swim Belfast swimmer. Great to see them represented here. Like we said, that Irish junior record is Danielle Hill's as well. She holds so many Irish records. But interesting enough, the meet record isn't of Danielle Hill. It's actually from Isabel Staden on a 60.06. So that's the championship record. Whereas Hill, 60.18. And the junior record is a 62.5. So we've seen a lot of junior records drop at this meet. Casson, Davison, amongst a few. So some of them have been standing a while. I think that 100 free Irish junior record was Sharika McMahon's of 2011 or 2012 or something like that. So for Davison to get that.
57.0. So yeah, it's broken down. Grace Davison brought it back down to that 56.96, I think,
so
last
she's
night.
Getting good company, isn't she? Sharika was an Olympian, obviously, from London 2012.
Absolutely.
So just you see Pat Daly there, our events manager from Ireland. He's just replacing those wedges, those backstroke wedges there. I think they cost £1,200 each, folks, those backstroke wedges. They're super expensive for what they are when you think about it.
Yeah, it's just a ledge in the water.
But yeah, they really help those backstroke swimmers so well. So here we go, heat number 4. Really moving on in times now. We've got 63s in the middle. Lottie Cullen, comfortably the fastest seated swimmer.
Yeah, and you can see the improvement on kind of technique as well. So everyone jumping off that ledge pretty high there. So getting a good pull out of the water, nice arch at the back, and pretty much all swimmers there getting to the 15-metre mark as well. So just quickly running down through the names. Leah O'Connell from in 0. We've got Callie Walsh in 1, Maeve McLean in 2, Aoife Doran in 3. Lottie Cullen again, fastest qualifier in that 1:03.93, the Swim Belfast swimmer in 4. Leah Bailey in 5. Roisin Nirian takes lane number 6. We've got Izzy McGrath in 7, Ellen Lee in 8, and Abigail Minto in 9.
Yeah, like India said, it is Cullen comfortably ahead. Great underwaters there, and that glide at the end of the last kick is really important too. So you're coming up streamlined. Keep that head still. So hard to keep that head still, especially when your arms are coming over at such a rate. Your body just wants to bounce up and down. You might see some of the swimmers in the other lanes there, they're bouncing a wee bit too much, but Collins holding it really, really nicely. 63.9, let's see what she gets into it.
It looks like she might just be equaling her PB here. Oh, 102.97, yeah, so just dipping below that 103 mark and pretty much taking a full second off her entry time. So, like we said, Lottie Cullen's definitely on form this programme.
Yeah, it's a good swim. Early doors, 62.9, that should be enough to get back tonight, definitely will be. So, really separate herself there from the rest of the field. But I'm really interested to see where Maria Godden goes here. She's a real positive energy kind of girl. She was
just off that qualifying time, 2:12.
Just off that in the 200 back. She was just really positive and really happy with it. You know, so even though she was disappointed, it was still a PB for her, so she knows she's on form. Sometimes the results don't go your way, don't they? And you just got to get on with it and go, well, that's swimming.
Absolutely, and hopefully Maria takes that 200 metre backstroke and, you know, she knows that she is on form and she doesn't, I don't know, like you said, she was quite positive afterwards, so you can kind of see swimmers go one of two ways after races like that. They can be disappointed and they can let it affect their performances later on in the week, or they can kind of take it and drive themselves a little bit more towards the end of the week as well. So let's just see how Maria takes it this morning.
Exactly, so be interested to see, because that women's 4x1 medley, potential for Paris qualification, you know, there's a few different ways they could potentially swim it. You know, they could swim it with Godden on the backstroke. Obviously, your breaststroke and butterfly swimmers are cemented in McSharry and Walsh, but then Catterson on the freestyle, or maybe Hill on the freestyle, or Hill on backstroke, Catterson on freestyle. So, a lot of different ways they can swim it. So, interesting to see what Godden goes here.
Yeah, she's looking composed coming in into this heat swim. So, let's see if she's just going to kind of cruise into this heat swim, or whether she's going to take it out fast.
I think she'll probably give it a good go here. And they're off. Obviously, they need a lot of strength to pull themselves up before they take your marks. We'll get a look here.
Great start there from lane number 6, Roisin Irene as well. So really hitting that 50 metre mark. I think she was first of the 15, but we've got Maria Godden already taking the lead. Oh, sorry, it's Molly Nolte in lane number 6, looking at the previous heat. But again, Maria Godden taking the lead here coming into this first 50 metre mark. Yeah,
she has a really lovely head, so still, and look how far back her head is. That's something that's really important. If you tilt your head towards your feet and look towards your feet, your hips will sink. You got to get your head right back, trying almost to look behind you to get those hips right up. So she's swimming really nicely here, keeping everything tight. Yeah, it's harder in backstroke. You don't really know where you are, indeed.
No, you don't. But you can see here from Maria that she's got a really, really strong pull under the water, but she's also got a very high stroke rate as well. So she's able to maintain that throughout the kind of latter part of this 100 metre back roll. So looks like she is giving it a go here in this morning swim. She's looking strong, kind of final few strokes. She's slowing down there. So 103.10. So looks like it was a bit of a cruise finish for Maria.
Yeah, probably just saving for tonight, saving for the race tonight. So it'll be interesting to see where she goes tonight. 63.1 this morning, so she's a 101.7 girl, so she's on form. So that was definitely sort of going through the motions there this morning. Cora Rooney second, and a skilled swimmer in a 64.76.
We're moving on to heat number 6. This is where we have Danielle Hill taking that centre lane. She's in lane number 4, our fastest qualifier. She is down for a 60.87. But again, she is our Irish senior and Irish junior record holders. So again, that Irish senior record being held in a 60.18.
Yeah, I reckon we'll see her just Danielle chill this morning. Yeah, taking it out nice and easy.
She is always that evening swimmer, isn't she, David? We spoke about that yesterday.
Yeah. So great attitude, Danielle. She lost that 100 freestyle last night just by 1/100th of a second to Catterson. You know, usually it's Danielle getting her hand on the wall ahead of others, but like on the 50 free. Yeah. But she came back and won that 50 fly, and she just moved on and said, well, hell, I lost the race.
Yeah, she came below that 27 mark as well in the 50 fly, so she's still on form. You know, she can still come back even after maybe being disappointed in the 100 free.
And that's experience. And that's experience. Just having done it so many times, she knows it's one race and better than that. So on her back, she'll go through the motions here this morning. The others around her will be looking to post good times to get good positions for the finals tonight.
Yeah, we've got the likes of Jenna McDougall from UCD as well, right beside Danielle Hill in lane number 5. And we've also got Bethy Firth there of Ards in lane number 6.
Yeah, Bethy Firth, the multiple Paralympic champion. Oh,
Oh,
wee bit of a twitch there from one of the top lanes. That could well be a disqualification, but it is Hill. Very good on the waters, very, very powerful. Look how steady her head is.
yeah, if there's any young swimmers out there, you should definitely be looking at Danielle Hill's kind of technical points in the 100 metre back roll. Again, like you were saying, David, it's gained so much strength to pull yourself up out of the water, but she gains so much height, and that's how she gets so deep into those underwaters, and she can really work on them. But she's turning here first comfortably in a 28.78, so very, very strong start here. But like we said, she's kind of Danielle chill. We might see her turn off here in this second part.
I hear Peter Hill screaming, her coach, so maybe she's going for it. She may be going for a heat swim and then pulling out for something tonight. So we don't have Danielle Chill, we have Danielle Hill this morning. She's going for it.
She's looking very strong coming into these final
Coming
few
in,
meters.
she might get under D. Ooh. 60.40 for Danielle Hill.
Yeah, it definitely looked like she was going for a time there this morning. We had quite a lot of screaming here going on the bank in the National Aquatic Centre. So she did look a little bit disappointed when she touched the wall there, 60.40. I'm sure she was looking to break that 60-second mark. So it'll be interesting to see if she decides to go for that second swim. Maybe she was looking to post that time this morning and potentially pull out of the 100 metre back roll. But again, we know Danielle, she'll be able to come back and perform this evening as well. Again, we were talking about that experience before. She'll probably go off, have a chat with her coach, get back into the cool down pool and just figure out her plans for later on.
She's under the World Championships time there, so I think that's what she was probably going for, pulling out for something tonight. But she'll be in another event this morning. That's why she would have done that. I'm sure we'll see her again. I'm trying to think what it could be. 2 and a free, maybe. Don't know. Or maybe she's just going for it because she wants 2 goes at it. I don't know. But that's confirmation. That is a World Championships automatic qualification time for Danielle Hill, so she'll be on the plane to Japan this summer. 60.4, just off her Irish senior record that she got to qualify for Tokyo. Danielle, so impressive, just able to every single year just get it done. Just get it done every single year. Just get what she needs to do, get faster. Really, really impressive. There's very few swimmers that can do that kind of thing.
Yeah, especially, we spoke about it before, there is a lot of pressure on Danielle. Like, people come in and there's quite a lot of eyes on Danielle, isn't there, for her to always perform kind of meet after meet. So she does take it in her stride, though. She definitely just gets in and she knows exactly what she's about.
She thrives off it, doesn't she?
She does.
So on to the men now. 6 heats again. Pretty much a full first heat.
Yeah, like I said, David, we've got 6 heats of the men's 100 metre backstroke this morning. So again, we're going to see quite a few fast swims. Well, all these swimmers in the first few heats are going to want to take it out fast to see if they can post a PB, because we only have 3 finals in this event, so they're going to be looking to post fast times now. But it does look like a far outside lane number 7 might be taking it out in this first 50 here.
Yeah, is that lane number 6, is it?
Number 6.
Yeah, Alan Vaughan of Marlins taking this race by a scruff of the neck. Really important to have a fast rotation on those turns. I know it can be it's so easy, folks, for swimmers to decelerate coming into that wall. It's like almost subconscious, because in training a lot of their turns and stuff will be just done at easier pace, so it's so easy just to float into the wall. But you can really tell the swimmers that practice it in training, that those fast rotations, those fast flips, because in a race it's really, really obvious. But it is the middle lane number 4, Leon Biss.
I think it might be lane number 2. Could
2.
equal it.
Call it. Yeah, it's Yalnazov in a 66.05. Getting the touch, sort of came in right at the end there.
Great PB for him there. So 2-second PB for the Kilkenny swimmer. And we know that Kilkenny they have a strong back roll program, don't they, down there?
Yeah, they always have. Jane Roberts, Kilkenny.
Jane Roberts, you had the likes of David Prendergast. You had quite a few back roll swimmers coming from Kilkenny Swimming Club.
So it's funny, different clubs known for different things.
And obviously Maria Godden from before. She's National Centre Limerick now, but she was originally from Kilkenny.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we talk about that, different clubs having different sort of good swimmers and different things, So Aer Lingus, obviously good distance swimmers. When I was at Bangor, it was good freestylers. You know, it's interesting when you get somebody maybe really good, a good talent that sort of steps up. Everybody else kind of steps up and joins if it's breaststroke or if it's whatever. And you know, it's really interesting to see. Like National Centre Limerick have got really good breaststrokers at the minute.
Absolutely.
So important in training people just to pull you along, because if you're just kind of training on your own, it's very, very difficult just to kind of gauge how fast you're going. And training is made so much easier when there's people pushing you. People, your similar talent, similar age even. Makes a world of difference, doesn't it, India?
Absolutely. So again, we kind of spoke about that friendly competition before, and I guess when I was back in ESB initially, my first swimming club, I was a 200 metre butterflyer there, and I had the likes of Gillian Gavigan beside me, and to be honest, every event that we got to, we'd not only be swimming side by side in training, but we'd also be swimming side by side in the likes of these events as well. So having that kind of competition and like knowing how to train, knowing how to race alongside someone like that, so it's nice when you have kind of like specific talents, I guess, within the one club. But we're moving on to heat number 2 now. Again, we've only got 1 second between all 10 swimmers here. So what kind of times will they be looking to post in that first 50 here if they want to break the 105 barrier, Dave?
Yeah, if they want to break that 105 barrier, first 50 they need to be out 31, 32, the very slowest 32. But 31, you're definitely going to break 105. You know, as long as you don't completely implode on the second 50. But early doors, lane number 2, Julian van Rensburg of Trojan. Just long arms, that long wingspan, using it to his advantage.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of distance here on this first 50, so let's just see how he's turning. So 30.79, so yeah, probably just above that time if he's going to be looking to break that time. But again, we've seen a lot of negative splits, I guess, in the backroll events so far. So, you know, fitness is definitely improving with these Irish swimmers, so they could be coming back strong in this second 50 of this 100 metre backroll.
Yeah, a lot of these younger swimmers as well will benefit from, you know, the back end. As you get older and you get stronger, your front end generally develops, and then you got to hang on to the back end. But here it is, I think lane 5 coming through. Rory Davis. No, it was Van Rensburg, got his hand on the wall on a 104.93, so as India said, to get under that 105 barrier. And Mullen got under as well, so really, really good racing there, boys. Yeah, Van Rensburg out in the 30 point, wasn't he? So yeah, you need to be out fast. You
absolutely. Strong swim, and like you said, I guess it is kind of as they're younger, they probably do have that kind of back end, you know, of their 100 meters. But it is also about gaining that experience of, like we talked about before, we've spoken about many times, that kind of easy speed on that first 50, so getting out hard and strong, but being able to maintain it for that second 50 as well. So these kind of lads are probably testing the waters now at this point, where they can try and push themselves that little bit harder on that first 50 and then be able to come back a little bit stronger.
Absolutely. 100 metre backstroke always been very good recently for Irish swimming. You know, we've had Shane Ryan and Conor Ferguson as well. Conor Ferguson now training in Loughborough University, my old stomping ground. Moved there at the start of the season, training with my old coach Ian Hume. Absolutely loving it, loving the challenge. Real different kind of intensity to what maybe he was used to. Not only the program being very intense, but just when you're training with guys that are so fast all around you, you're just surrounded by excellence. It can be very taxing, but it can be really, really rewarding if you take advantage and take all that in.
Absolutely. It can either make or break you as an athlete, can't it?
Yeah, it absolutely can.
Yeah.
Some thrive off it and some will fold, but here we go, we're on heat number 3 now.
Yeah, so again, we've only got a second separating all these swimmers here. Our fastest qualifier in a 104.65 is Luke Woolley, the 17-year-old from Claremorris. So again, he's going to be looking to go out fast here, but he's looking strong. Nice, good head position, good fast rotation of those shoulders as well. Out in a 30.22, so slightly faster than our previous heat. But no, he's looking strong, Luke. So again, he just needs to have a strong second 50 here if he wants to touch below that 104.
Yeah, like any 100, you want to build that first 50, build the pace, build the tension into that turn, and then off that turn you want to explode off the underwaters and just keep the legs going. The rate might want to drop, but you got to keep the rate high and the stroke long. He's doing that really nicely.
Yeah, he's definitely going to break this PB here, and he does in a 103.11. So very strong swim there, out in a 30.2. and to return in a 33 or 32 high. So very strong swim there from the 17-year-old of Claire Morris.
Yeah, we're getting down to it now. Heat number 4 coming up. John Short. I think he's one of the most exciting talents in Irish swimming at the minute.
So he said the winner of our 200-meter back roll, wasn't he? In a very, very impressive time.
Yeah, yeah. I just love his attitude. I love how he carries himself around the pool. Even when I interviewed him on, it might have been day 1 or day 2, that 200 back, day 2, I think maybe. You know, he just, for a 16-year-old, he spoke so well, so mature, knew exactly. He was just taking it all in his stride. He was so excited to be just here and swimming fast. And that's really, really hard to kind of hang on to sometimes in this sport because it can be so cruel and demanding. But he's got a great attitude, and I really can't wait to see what he can do.
Absolutely, yeah. We spoke about it before. So these kind of younger athletes that I guess are coming through, they probably have not less pressure on them, but they you know, they're coming in, they're improving every single event, because they're kind of gaining that strength, they're gaining that experience. So it's probably just trying to keep that enjoyment of racing and not putting too much pressure on yourself. But we know John is on form, so let's see if he's just going to try and cruise into the final this evening, or if he's going to take it out strong. So he's going in lane number 4.
Yeah, very similar kind of body shape to the world record holder actually in this event. Is Thomas Chekon of Italy on a 51.6, which is a ridiculously fast time. But Short's got a really similar body style, that sort of lean, tall, skinny kind of look, but he's out really nice here, keeping that head nice and still. John Stranick would have worked on that technique, keeping everything moving forwards. Wee bit of a bounce in his stroke, India, isn't there?
Yeah, there is a little bit of a bounce in his stroke there, but
he's out well.
Just off that underwaters, we know that he's already a full body length ahead and turning in at 26.94. That's a very impressive start there from John Short. And again, you see those underwaters hitting 15 metres perfectly, and that first breakout, that first stroke, he's getting straight back up into that speed again. So he's looking strong here for his heat swim.
Yeah, this guy really excites me.
Look at the turnover as well. That stroke rate is flying in this heat swim. So coming in, final stroke here, hitting the wall perfectly in a 55.54. Fantastic swim there. So just over a second over that Irish junior record of 54.38 set by Conor Ferguson.
Yeah, that's a really good swim for Short, 55.5. Expect him to even go faster tonight, because that Irish senior record is absurd from Conor Ferguson. I remember I was there when he did it. 54.3, just missed out on Olympic qualification for Rio by something like 5/100ths of a second. It was so harsh for him. Conor Ferguson was a young talent who obviously succeeded and did really well, but John Short is as well another extremely talented young man.
Yeah, to be hitting 55.54 at the age of 16 from the bluefin swimmer like John Short is definitely one to be watching over the next few years.
I suppose he's had the likes of Shane Ryan to look up to and Conor Ferguson to look up to, so it's not like he's coming in and breaking through on his own, like, you know, the likes of Brendan Hyland kind of had to do on that butterfly. There was nobody really around him. His whole career, he was just kind of on his own on that 200 fly. So I think having people to look up to and get better, you know, and go, oh, that's the ceiling. Shane Ryan's a 53, Conor Ferguson's a 158. That's what I want to get to. You know, it definitely gives you something to aim for, and it just shows you that if those guys can do it, I can do it. So,
absolutely. So yeah, we've had we've spoken about it in the live stream, I guess. You know, we're talking about all these young swimmers. They should be watching. They're kind of watching with the more experienced swimmers, how they're kind of competing technically, even going around to their coaches on the bank and just asking what their kind of training program is like. So yeah, the likes of Brendan Hyland, he definitely had to kind of come through on his own, but at least the likes of Jack Casson now, he's probably gone back over a lot of Brendan Hyland swims, and he's kind of looking at them, and you know, to break one of those records. That, what did he break yesterday? That 100 fly, the junior record set by Brendan Hyland 10 years ago, actually, in a 54.29. So very, very strong.
There you go. You're mixing with that kind of company, you know you've got it in you. Interesting to see Ferguson now in the water for the first time in this meet, and the only time for this 100 backstroke. Opted to not swim the 50 back and 200 back. Let's see what he does here. We'll see if he's going for it.
Those underwaters are impeccable there from Conor Ferguson.
Ferguson is a real premium talent, technically. Not the tallest, but extremely strong, extremely mobile, extremely twitchy. So yeah, look at that. Look at everything moving forwards.
Look at the stillness of his head there as well. It's all coming from that shoulder rotation. So let's just see what his first split is going to be. 26.30, so slower there than John Short in that previous heat, but let's see how he takes it on this back end of the race.
Yeah, he's got to accelerate now. That's where Connor's really, really good. He accelerates really well off a turn. He's got real grit. You know, he's one of those swimmers that hates to lose more than he loves to win. So Ferguson coming through really, really fast. He's looking for PB in that World Championships qualification time. He's going to get into the wall, folks. Get under, Connor. Ooh, 54.48. That's not a bad swim at all from him. Right down around his best. You can't complain with that, Connor, for a morning.
Nah, he's only 10th of a second above that Irish junior record that he set on a 54.38. So very, very strong swim there from Connor. He absolutely glides on the top of the water, doesn't he? Like, it doesn't even look like he's in the water. It looks like he just swims right on the top of it. So
all the best swimmers do. Yeah. All the best swimmers do. Mona does it. Tom Fannin did it in that 50. You know, they look like they're literally swimming half out of the water, half under.
Out of the water, exactly, yeah. So like the top half of his body was pretty much just up out of the water there. So fantastic swim there from Connor. We definitely know that he's on form. Again, just 1/10 of a second above that Irish junior record that he set back in 2018. That was one of his strongest swims that we've seen from him. So 54.48 in a heat. We definitely are looking forward to his swim now this evening.
Yeah, the World Championship automatic qualification standard is a 54.03. But then the consideration time is a 54.55, so he's under the consideration standard. So he's right in the mix there, but he'll want that automatic. He'll want that 53. I know he will. I know him well, and he'll not settle for that. He'll want faster. So in a race tonight, you know, with all the fast guys around him, he thrives on that. So of course he'll have his nemesis, Mr. Shane Ryan, tonight. So interesting to see what Shane does. Got that silver medal last night in that 100-meter butterfly. Just tied up a bit towards the end. He struggled with training recently. Hasn't been able to do too much.
How's he feeling for his back roll events? I know we say that kind of shoulder injury has been acting up a little bit more in the back roll events compared to the fly and the freestyle events. So do you feel like he's up for his swim today? Yeah, I mean, I didn't chat to him too much after his 100 fly last night. He was sort of just said, you know, he's not, because his training's been hampered so much, he's not really fit enough. But on an event like fly, where he's not as used to it and he doesn't do it as much, he probably can't rely on a lot of old sort of training he's done over the years, like he can on backstroke. So it's Shane Ryan at the end of the day. He's so talented, you wouldn't be surprised if he just pulls something out. Again, leaping like a salmon out of the water there, like David likes to describe. But yeah, no, fantastic start there from Shane. So perfect underwaters. Again, any young swimmers watching, he's taken it out already a full body length pretty much ahead after that first 15 metres. So he's looking strong at this first 50. Let's just see what his split is going to be.
Yeah, taking it out really nicely. He always does. Explodes off the block. Fantastic underwaters, like world-class underwater Shane Ryan has. Taking this out pretty easy, 26.7. This will not be taxing him at all. He's just going through the motions here to get a spot for tonight. But he catches so much water. He's such a big wingspan. If anybody's ever met him or stood beside him in real life, he's so big. Not only in stature, but also in width. His shoulders are massive. So here he comes in. He's just cruising here. Yeah, 55.4 for Ryan. It is going to be Ferguson, our fastest qualifier tonight, with Ryan beside him.
And John Short on the other side.
And John Short on the other side, so that's going to be a fantastic race. Wouldn't want to split that one. Liam 1 loving it. Or is it he might be annoyed?
I think he might be a little bit annoyed there.
Splash in the water. Well, we love a bit of emotion. Shows he cares. But Ryan taking that one really comfortably, just sort of... I suppose in those kind of races, when you know you're going to win, you just sort of focus on the technical aspects, don't you? And you just kind of dial them in for tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. He's such an experienced swimmer, so he's probably just getting in and just seeing how his body is feeling. Again, it's day 4 of a 5-day meet, so he probably is just trying to like shake off the cobwebs, I guess, just make sure that, you know, you've got everything technically. Again, things, you know, he's been swimming in this pool a very, very long time, so he knows exactly how the NIC works, but sometimes it is just nice just to know how you're feeling on the day. So nice cruise in there from Shane Ryan. So our top 3 qualifiers again, Shane Ryan, Conor Ferguson and John Short going into that 100 back roll this evening. But we've got a change of event. We've got the women's 200 metre IM coming up next. We've got 5 heats. and our fastest qualifier into this is the new Irish senior record holder in that 100 fly. We've got Ellen Walsh coming up in lane number 4 of heat 5. Again, she said she's been focusing on that 200 metre IM in her training recently, so it'll be interesting to see how she goes today.
Yeah, I think she could be really, really fast in that. Like, you know, she's sort of shown she's got speed from that 100 flies. 57.9, so she's got the speed. And even for the, you know, in the 400 medley is very, very different to the 200 medley. The 200 medley is her sort of specialist event, I would say. She qualified for Tokyo in that. Shocked everyone, didn't she, when she qualified for that? Just really, really swam. Clutch fast swim. She was out on her own and nobody could quite believe it. At the 150, it was, everyone kind of realised, didn't they? They were like, wait, this could be on. She got her hand on the wall, the Dublin girl, great to see. Everyone was so happy for her. But I think she can bring that down even more, that Irish senior record. What is it? It's a 2:12.0.
Yeah, 2:12.0. So. Yeah, I remember that swim. I think, you know, she had obviously been training for it, but even when she touched the wall herself, you know, kind of shocked look or happy look on her face as well when she swam that time. So yeah, again, like you said, from the way she's swimming this weekend, I think she's definitely got a 2:11, 2:10 in her, breaking that Irish senior record, hopefully.
Oh, without a doubt. Doesn't really have a weak leg. But heat 1. Pretty busy heat, this one.
Yeah, we've got a full heat here. So again, we've got three finals for this evening. So we've got our A, B and our junior final as well. And we've only got 5 heats, so some of these girls are definitely going to be pushing themselves a little bit on this 200 IM. So kind of spoke about the 400 IM before. Again, breaststroke is always going to be kind of that defining leg, I guess. But each of these, it's only a 50 of each stroke, so they are going to try and push that pace, aren't they, David, here?
They are, yeah. Kind of all over the place. Unlike the 400 medley where, you know, you got time to kind of settle into your stroke a bit more. You know, because there's obviously 2 lengths of each stroke as opposed to just the 1 length. The 200 medley is almost like you got to sprint every single 50 because each stroke uses different body parts. I know from the outside it looks like they're just swimming up and down, but butterfly will put a bit more pressure on maybe the fronts of the shoulders and the lats. Backstroke will put a bit more pressure on your hips. Then breaststroke a lot more on your legs, you know, and then freestyle a lot more on your lats. So it's kind of all over the place. So you're using different muscle parts. So that's why you kind of got to sprint every single 50. And backstroke so key, like in any medley race, whether it's a 400 medley, a 200 medley, a 100 medley short course, you cannot switch off. You have to accelerate that backstroke. Absolutely. And the breaststroke always the key, isn't it, India? We've always talked about that.
Yeah, breaststroke is always the key, and like you said, you don't actually have that much time to settle into your stroke. So we've kind of spoken about, I guess, on 50 events that as soon as they hit the wall and they push off and they've gone through that breakout, it's going to be within the first 2, 3, 4 strokes. So they really want to be gaining that top speed on every single stroke. So we've got this breaststroke leg here. We had lane number 6, I think, taking the lead, but it could be anyone's race here. We've got our middle lanes catching up a fair bit of ground here. That's lane number 4 taking the lead. That's our new roster, our 16-year-old. Her entry time is a 2:36.94. So let's see what she splits on here and whether she'll be going below that time. Yeah,
really tight race. Love to see this kind of thing, but it is lane 4, as India said. Korsuri Naji, 158.8 at the 150. And now bring in the legs and just get your breathing pattern set. Don't try and look around you too much. Just get your rhythm set as early as you can on freestyle and just go.
Definitely.
Don't want to be double breathing like she's doing there, sort of looking to both sides. You want to just keep the rhythm, the tempo the same, and just let that fitness carry you through.
Absolutely.
So see if she can hang on. Lane 6 coming in hard. Shauna Murphy of Dolphin making a late charge, but it is going to be lane 4, the leader. Yeah, 2:35.99 for her. Just under her best. That's a second under her best, so we got to take that any day of the week.
Absolutely, and again, we spoke about it before. IM is just a very grueling event, whether it's a 200 or whether it's a 400, and I think even in a 200, the oxygen debt that you must feel after that breaststroke leg, because again, we said that that's the defining leg, so trying to hit the wall first on that breaststroke leg and then turning and having to sprint down a 50 front crawl, I'd say by the end, these girls are definitely hurting, and you can see by all the girls hanging over the lane ropes here that 200 IM is definitely a painful event.
It is, and India talked about that oxygen debt. It's so real, especially coming on that breaststroke pull out. You got to stay underwater for a bit longer, and then sort of, instead of just trying to recover almost after that underwater breaststroke, you've got to accelerate, and then the really good swimmers on the last turn will stay under the 15 meters underwater kick. Michael Phelps popularized that. Ryan Lochte as well. Those guys all stayed underwater for 15 meters. They were the first. It was done a lot in backstroke, you know, during the years. Even you look back at old footage of, you know, in the 1984 LA, Los Angeles Olympics, there were swimmers doing it. And Lenny Krieselberg of the 90s did it. You know, but it was always done in backstroke, but never really on freestyle. And then when Phelps came along and sort of showed that, okay, you can stay underwater and kick faster and do it effectively, it's going to be better. And then the rest of the world followed from there. So he sort of pioneered that, not only on freestyle, but also on butterfly. So, similar to what kind of Adam Peaty did on breaststroke. Little technical breakthroughs like that makes such a big difference.
Absolutely, it does. And we just had our final few swimmers there finishing in heat number 1. So we had a good few PBs there. We got Nicole Turner swimming a little bit faster. Her entry time 3:17.91, and she brought it down to that 3:16.60. Again, Shiva Brady entered 3:37. She's brought it down to a 3:33. And Dervila Brady as well entering at 3:54. She brought it down to 3:53. So fantastic swims from all those girls there as well. So moving on to heat number 2. Again, we've got a full event. Definitely an increase in speed here. So our fastest qualifier is Darcy Walker of Banbridge, the 16-year-old. She's got a 2:33.30. So again, we've spoken about it before. They kind of need to definitely make sure that they're staying slow and relaxed in this 50. Well, not slow and relaxed, easy and relaxed on that first 50 fly, and then really hammering home on that middle 100.
Yeah, and like we've said, you can't. These girls aren't going to be taking this easy. You know, it's day 4 now. They are getting tired. So the swimmers that are still swimming well will be the ones who've prepared themselves the best, who have taken care of their recovery post swims. And you can see that swim down pool just behind the boards to your left there. You'll be able to see it when the camera pans up. Swimmers will finish their race and go straight in there. You'll see them doing land warm-ups. You know, swim down, remove all that lactic acid so they can prepare for the next race effectively. If you don't do that, you're going to hamper your swims.
Absolutely, and that land training kind of before your race as well, it can kind of show whether you're on, like, your muscles are firing and that kind of thing. You'll see a lot of, you probably see it in shot now every now and again when we return to the top end of the pool, but you'll see a lot of swimmers doing med ball slams, that like plyometric jumps, etc. So it really is a good indicator to see how they're firing up for their heat swims as well. But just quickly running down through the list of names here on the heat number 2, we've got Megan Diamond in 0, Lily Markey in 1, Jessica Purcell in lane number 2. We've got Brianna Chamberlain in 3. Fastest qualifiers, Darcy Walker of Banbridge in 4, Lexi Dunn in 5, Michelle O'Shea in 6, Eva Hand in 7, Louise Harnett in 8, and Saoirse Dorgan in lane 9.
Yeah, early dominant swimmer here is Lexi Dunn of Dolphin. Just taking it out, strong butterfly leg. Just holding on that backstroke. All these swimmers will have weak points. They'll have one stroke that is considerably weaker than the others. You know, as you get better, some of these swimmers might have 2 strokes that are considerably weaker, and as you get to the faster and more accomplished swimmers, you know, those weak points begin to get less. So IM's all about working on your weak points. It's not so much about making your strong points stronger, but making your weak points more average. It's going to make you faster. So
absolutely, I'll never forget one of my 400 IMs down at a Dave McCullough meet, and I was racing beside Sarika McMahon, and my 100 fly was good, but I definitely knew my 100 back roll was not good. So kind of touching similar enough to Sarika, and turning after that 100 back roll, she was probably about 8 body lengths ahead of me. So you definitely know your weak points when you get up to that kind of that level as well. So, but anyway, we're coming in again. Lane number 5 is still taking it out strong. That is Lexi Dunn of Dolphin. So she's turning in a 1:55.57. She's looking like she's definitely going to be breaking her PB today, but taking the lead here, taking it out strong, and kind of maintaining that lead as well.
Yeah, it has been our leader from the start. Dunn being challenged by her teammate Michelle O'Shea. But Dunn breathing to us here, breathing to the left, so doesn't really know what's around her. But she's just focusing on herself. Keep the legs driving, keep the stroke nice and long. When that pool changes at the bottom there, that boom changes, the floor changes, you know you're about 10 meters out, so keep the head down, Lexi. Good stuff. A 2:32.47 for her. So that's just inside her best, but a good PB. Making those slight gains. It doesn't even need to be gains in time. It could be technical gains. You may have gone slower, but for example, let's say you've got a really bad, I don't know, head movement on your backstroke, or and you're trying to fix it, and even though you fix it and it's slower at the beginning, it'll be faster in the long run. So sometimes you got to take a step backwards, take a step forwards, don't you?
Absolutely, we've seen the likes of that. So we've had very experienced swimmers, kind of using some of these races as kind of more, I guess, technical forms, technical experience. So we had the likes of some of our National Centre Limerick swimmers, taking out that 50 breaststroke and not actually going max effort, but using it more as an indicator to see what their first 50 of their 200 metre breaststroke can be like. So a lot of these swimmers sometimes might actually come in and not really focus on the times that they're going for, but focus on other technical aspects of their swimming that they've been working on for months and months and months, and just seeing if that transfers over to their racing as well.
Yeah, I remember when I went to Loughborough, they wanted to change everyone's dive to like a more power-based dive, and I remember we were all like, this is slower, we can't do it. We weren't powerful enough to utilize it, but they said, no, we got to get it technically right. I never actually quite got it in the end. It was difficult what they were trying to get us to do. But in the long run, it was faster. At the end of the season, it was considerably faster than what we were doing at the start. So, but they made us stick with that the whole time. Sort of take a step back, take a step forward. Swimming's so technical. All the top swimmers in the world, none of them have bad technique, do they?
No, not at all. And like I was speaking about before, my fly, I was taking, I used to turn my head to the side to breathe, and I'll never forget my first couple of races. I probably swallowed half the water in the pool, to be honest, because I just wasn't used to it. But as you gain more experience on it and you just kind of stick with it, it definitely is probably better for you in the long run. But we're moving on to the first of our seeded heats now in the women's 200 metre IM. So we've got Molly Main going in lane number 4, our Temple Oak swimmer. She's our fastest qualifier into this event, or this heat, sorry, in a 2:16.70. So just running down through the names: Georgia Walker of 0, we've got Niamh Connery in 1, Isabel Kidney in 2, Megan Jones in 3, Molly Main again fast qualifier in 4, Aoife Doran in 5, Niamh Putney in 6, Hannah O'Shea in 7, Anna Feenan in 8, and Cueva Farnan in lane 9.
As expected, yeah, Molly Main out first, 29.61 to the hand. Good underwaters there. Accelerate through this 50, build this 50 on the backstroke. We've had a lot of this in this medley. One swimmer just kind of taking the race by the scruff of the neck and sort of not looking back. Main is no exception.
Molly's usually one that she'll give both chances a go, won't she? She'll swim fast in the heat and she'll try swimming fast in the final as well. So it looks like she is taking it out. She's dominating this field already, coming into the first 100. So strong start, 29.61, and she's turning in a 35.33 in that 50 metre backstroke. So let's see how she takes this 50 breaststroke leg as well.
Wee bit of a glide down to that turn for Molly Main, but not so bad. That's something she could definitely work on for later. Working through this breaststroke now. Keep the kick tight. Don't come up too much. Don't have the chest out of the water too much. Don't have those hands come back. She's doing a really nice job here.
She's got a very wide sweep there in that breaststroke. She's clearly got a good grasp with the water. She's very strong, kind of on that upper half of her breaststroke. But yeah, she's looking strong. She's looking controlled here. So turning again, let's see that 50 split. So she's got a 40.32. So turning on a 1:45.26. Again, her entry time of 2:16. So she's going to need to be coming back on a 30:31 if she wants to be breaking that PB in this heat swim.
Fast to come back on, but hard when you're on your own like that. But coming in, she's going to be back tonight very comfortably. She's taken such a sizable lead. Cameraman's having to zoom out to get everyone in the shot, but she's coming in. She's got a best time, just like India said, of 2:16.7. She's outside that, 2:18.5. More than good enough to get her back for tonight's final. Isabel Kidney coming in second place from lane 2 in a 2:27.36, and Hannah O'Shea 2:29.80 coming in third.
So Molly Main, she'll be going back to her coach now. She'll be having a look at those splits, and kind of like you said, David, there's a couple of technical things that she'll probably work on going into that final swim this evening. So just making sure she's not gliding in on that last 50. But again, they'll probably analyse her race and she'll know exactly what she needs to do in that final swim this evening. But again, like you said, comfortably in with that 2:18.51. We'll have an interesting race this evening. We've also got the likes of Ellie McCartney coming up next with Naomi Trait, and we've also got Poppy Matthias, Ellen Walsh and Grace Davison going in that final heat as well.
Fellas, I can just say Molly Main has been disqualified there for some sort of infringement. It's come up on the official scoreboard live here in the Aquatic Centre. Hasn't come up on the stream there, but just letting you know.
That'll be it.
Not sure what that was for. Didn't spot that one, so trying to think. It must have been maybe a one-handed turn maybe or something.
Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
I didn't spot anything there from Molly, so I'm sure she's going to be disappointed now.
Yeah, that's annoying. That's annoying, but sport can be cruel. We've got McCartney coming in here, fastest qualifier in heat number 4. He used to trains at the National Centre Ulster with Kevin Anderson. Assistant coaches Andrew Bree and Aaron Rickus. The McCartney, generally a breaststroker, but when I was swimming there and saw her swim, she had a fantastic freestyle. And you know, she wasn't too shabby at the fly in the back either. And I always told Kevin Anderson and told her to make sure to swim medley as well, because I think she could actually, that could be her best event as opposed to the breaststrokes. You know, she's qualified in the 100 breast for the European Juniors and the European Under 23s, but I really think that medley could be a real good shout for her in the future. But see how she goes here. Expect her to win this.
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of, when you're, I guess, at that age, it's only 18 years of age, so you think you know what you specialise in at that point, but you're still changing, like your body's changing, you're still gaining a lot of strength, so all those like speciality strokes could actually change, and she does look like she's strong on quite a few of her events now, so I am actually might be a strong shout there for Ellie McCartney of ARDS, or National Centre Ulster. So she's taking it out strong here. She's definitely the clear lead here coming to this 50 fly. Again, 29.40, strong start there, David.
Yeah, 29.40, quite a loping, long kind of fly stroke. Does a lot of that kind of long medley work in that program. Anderson will give her that, sort of to build that fitness, and also not to put too much stress on just one stroke. You know, can maybe if you do too much freestyle or too much of one stroke, you can get stress, repetitive stress injuries. So mixing up the different strokes, whether it's breaststroke, backstroke, fly, kick, pull, you know, you can sort of get fit, but also just keep an eye on those areas. But here she comes in, a 105.22. That was a 35.8 split for her. But breaststroke, her speciality. That's why I think she could be a really good 200 medley girl, because she's got the breaststroke already. You know, she's going to be working on that anyway. She's going to keep that moving forward. So she doesn't have to worry about that, and she can progress the other strokes as she sees fit. But yeah. I like how she sort of changed her stroke. She used to come up very, very high, and I felt there was way too much drag when she did that. Now a lot lower, a lot more, everything moving forwards. Really quite a wide kick in there, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, it is, and she really does get back into that streamline position on every single stroke there. You can see her push that head right in between those shoulders as she dives down in every single stroke. But strong actually split there, 39.46 for that 50-metre breaststroke leg. So again, her entry time here into this heat is a 2:15.81. She's swimming off on her own here, so coming into the last 25 metres of her final 50. Again, good solid stroke right there she has. I think she probably needs to pick up that leg kick now in the final swim, but we never know. She could actually just be kind of cruising in for this heat swim.
Just kind of cruising through. Don't think that's a full effort there, to be honest. 2:18.2. Slightly outside her best, so she's on 4 in this meet, so I would imagine that's not her going for it too much. Doesn't look too phased, so she'll be in the final tonight quite comfortably. Rest of the field just making up the numbers.
Yeah, we had Naomi Trait there coming second, the UCD swimmer in a 2:26.00. So again, just outside her PB, but I'm sure with that time she'll be also making an A final for this evening. But we're moving on to heat number 5, so this is our final heat of the women's 200 IM, and we do have our Irish senior record holder Ellen Walsh in a 2:12. She is going in lane number 4, 2:12.48 that qualifying time, but our Irish senior record being held at a 2:12.02.
Yeah, so Walsh actually disqualified in that yesterday in the 400 medley for an infringement. So she'll want to make sure that that's cleaned up, cleared up, so she doesn't make the same mistake again. It just shows you a swimmer as experienced as Ellen Walsh can still make those mistakes at the top level, getting disqualified. Especially on the medley, we have a race referee or a judge at every single lane, just watching that you make sure you touch with 2 hands and not 1 hand on the medley. Only time you can touch with 1 hand on the medley is to finish in the freestyle. So if you make any kind of infringement, they will see it.
Really shows that our officials are switched on as well this weekend. So
They're a bit trigger happy, aren't they, disqualifying people?
But at least, yeah, we know that ourselves that we couldn't possibly be doing these competitions without our officials as well. So fair play to all the officials for lasting these 5 days as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's no easy feat. But final heat, Ellen Walsh, star of this one, the Tokyo 2020 Olympian, World Championship silver medalist.
So let's see how Ellen takes this heat swim. We know that she's strong on the fly leg, so I'm sure she's going to be touching first comfortably in this first 50 fly. And yeah, she's got a good breathing pattern actually, so she's breathing every 2, breathing every 3, so looks like oxygen debt is never really an issue for Ellen Walsh on a 50 fly, but definitely already a full body length ahead. She's looking really strong, and again, we've spoken about it before, that undulation on her fly is absolutely incredible. So let's see what she touches in on. Yeah, 28.08. To be able to start at 200 IM and a 28.08 is very impressive there, David.
Yeah, of course it is, but she's world class, so would expect nothing else, nothing less. But she looks accelerated through now. It will just pull away from the field. By the end of this race, folks, she'll be so far ahead.
Like
Davison beside her as well. She just swims everything. Grace Davison, every time I look, she's in the pool. Curtis Coulter, give her a break. But there's Walsh. 61.3, that's a good first half. Really good first half for her. World record is a 2.06. We're not looking for that, but it's Katinka Hossu. We speak about her a lot, and she had literally no weak stroke. All these good.
Sounds like she might be going for it this morning. We've got quite a lot of cheering going on here on the bank of the National Aquatic Centre. So yeah, Ellen's looking really strong. We've already said it before, she doesn't really have a weak stroke. So she's looking really tight, really comfortable here. We've got Grace Davison there swimming alongside her, but we've got Ellen, our clear leader. Let's see what this 50 split is for her 50-metre breaststroke.
Yeah, it just shows Grace Davison's a premium talent, but Walsh is on another level. Look at that underwater kick. That is outrageous. Fantastic to be able to do that at the end of a 200 medley. The fitness to be able to do that is just so high. Here she comes. I don't think she's going to be anywhere near her best, really. 2:12. I think she'll be just outside that.
Yeah, she's going to need to pick up the pace into these final few strokes, but
coming
she
in well.
is just outside, I'd say.
Yeah, 2:13 dead.
2:13.00.
Just about a second over her best.
Still a strong swim, and then Grace Davison coming in there in a 2:19.88. So again, just slightly above her PB of a 2:17.93, but strong swim there from the middle 2 lanes. And we've got Lucy O'Brien in lane number 7 taking the 3rd place position in that in a 2:30.68.
Yeah, automatic world's qualification time is a 2:12.98, so she's 0.02 off that, but I think she already got it in the 100 fly, so she's already on the plane, but she'll get that tonight, no problem.
Yeah, she's looking strong, and we know that Ellen, you know, she can perform in the morning, and she can definitely perform in the evening as well. We saw that with her 100 fly in taking 2 Irish senior records in that one day, so going 58 for the first swim and 57 for the second. So our top 3 qualifiers for this evening in that 200 IM, we're going to have Ellen Walsh in first, we've got Ellie McCartney there second, and then we have Grace Davison third, fastest qualifier into that event.
Yeah, it'll be a good one tonight, but it will be Walsh taking that comfortably tonight. But the next race we've got coming up will be slightly closer, I think. It's the men's 200-metre freestyle. Let's see what we've got. And we've got Finn McGeever, the Tokyo 2020 Olympian, as part of that 4x200-metre freestyle relay. We've got Jack Casson, the very, very talented swimmer. He's had Irish junior records in the 100 fly last night, champion in the 200 fly, Irish senior record, in the 400 medley for him. So he's a real sort of multi-talented swimmer. Robbie Powell coming in there as well. A bit different for 200 free now. There used to be a few athletes have kind of retired and left the sport. Jordan Sloan most recently has retired after a stellar career. Jack McMillan moving on to GB. Jerry Quinn stopping after before Tokyo, qualifying that relay. So yeah, it's probably a bit of a revolution now for 200 metre freestyle in Ireland with those guys stopping, but there's a lot of great talent to be able to step up
Absolutely. The 200 metre front crawl used to always be such an exciting event as well at all of our Irish Open Championships. But again, like you said, we've got some pretty young hopefuls coming in here for the 200 metre. And like you said, Jack Hassan there going in heat number 6. So very multi-talented. It'll be interesting to see how he goes in the 200 metre free. But then we've also got the likes of Nathan Whiffen, you know, probably more of an endurance swimmer, but he's going in lane number 6 beside Jack. And let's see how he takes his 200, seeing as he's PB'd in the 400 and the 800 as well.
Exactly, yeah. So 200 free a real different event to what it used to be. You know, back in the 2000s, 90s, you know, it was very much a middle distance event. You know, if you swam the 200, you swam the 400. You know, it was always guys coming down from the 400 swimming the 200, and then it was always guys swimming the 50 would swim the 100. Now it's very, very different. You almost get specialists in every event, don't you? You get 50 metre specialists, 100 metre specialists, 200 metre specialists. You know, so people really focusing on sort of that one event. That's the reason that I think times are dropping so rapidly, is because people aren't spreading out their efforts over a number of events. They're sort of focusing on one and going, that's what I'm doing.
Absolutely. We've really seen swimming evolve over, especially like the kind of past 2 decades. Like we've even spoken about it just in regards to the breaststroke stroke. Like it used to start off very much like completely different, very wide kick, very wide sweep, but now, you know, we see the likes of Adam Peaty, and it's become a very like narrow, very tight stroke. So you can kind of see swimming is progressing year on year, like not just from like the suits, but also just technically. So yeah, we're going to see like a lot more kind of specialist swimmers, I guess, coming into each event. But that's what makes it fast. That's what makes it exciting. That's what makes it like all these world records, all, like European records being broken every single event. So it's nice to see swimming progress kind of year on year.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's almost become a sprint event, you know, whereas it used to be an event you could pace quite comfortably. Now all the top guys are kind of just taking it out so quick that if you don't have a lot of speed, you're left behind. You're not going to be able to catch up. Doesn't matter how good your back end is. So really evolving and changing the 200 metre freestyle. But it is Alex Lee in the lead. Good battle going on. Very, very close. Thomas Bulger right next to him. So they're eyeballing each other down this last length. Love to see that. It is Lee with the lead though.
So it's great to see the competition between the two lads there. Great camera shot we've got going
Bulger
on.
with the lead.
Absolutely. So our fastest qualifier is Thomas Bulger. He has a 2:09.87. Just 14-year-old from Sunday as well. So I think he might just be outside that time. And 2:09.96. So just 1/10 of a second above that entry time. So good swim there from Thomas Bulger. I'm sure he might be a little bit disappointed. He doesn't look too happy at the clock. But again, just getting a swim in at these Irish Open Championships. Great for that 14-year-old there from Sunday as well.
Yeah, getting in there. Still dipping under that 110 mark, so not too shabby. You take that, you know, it's all experience as well. Even though if you haven't got faster at that age, when you're only 14 years of age, just racing here every time you're learning something. So even though he hasn't got faster, he'll have got more experience and gained experience from that. So always got to try and take the positives.
Absolutely. And we have our Irish senior record and our Irish junior record both set by Jack McMillan. So we were speaking about him earlier. So both of those are below that 150 mark. That's a serious standard there, isn't it, for both the Irish senior and Irish junior record. Jack McMillan setting that back in 2018, the Irish junior record of 1:49.57. Very, very strong swim there from a junior. Yeah,
fast for a junior, really fast. He was a real talent. Was always going to develop into the great swimmer he is. So, but records are made to be broken, and there will be someone to come along and smash that record, I'm sure. You know, you find that with records. Sometimes you think, oh, nobody's going to beat that. That's impossible, that record, and then somebody does eventually come along and beat it. So, on to heat 2 though, full heat of this men's 200 metre freestyle. The meet record is held by Jordan Sloan. Mentioned him earlier. 1:47.41 back in 2017. I talked about that exact swim earlier in the meet when he just went for it from the beginning. He absolutely flew through the first 150 and just hung on to get a really good qualification time. At that point, it was for World Championships. So.
We know, David, that you are more like, I guess, a 50 and a 100 metre specialist, but how should these lads be taking this 200? Is it kind of similar enough, easy speed in the first 100 and then trying to really knock it down on that third 50, or how should they be taking it? Yeah,
setting the stroke up really, really well in this first 50, but not, taking it too easy. You want to kind of save the legs. Lane number 3 here, I would say Weaver is probably kicking a wee bit too hard for this first 50, but we'll see. You want to sort of set up the stroke well, out fast, strong, maybe that 85% kind of pace, 90% maybe, and then from the second and third 50, that middle 100 kind of go hand in hand. You want to almost have them as their own separate focus. So a lot of these swimmers will work on middle 100. They'll do middle 100 pace, because the first 50 takes care of itself. When you're tapered and shaved and rested, you can get out quick. And the last 50 is just what you have left, but that middle 50s, 50s number 2 and 3, you've got to hammer home, especially I would say the third 50.
Yeah, it's making sure you don't hold back too much in that third 50.
No, you have to keep building and building and building and keep that momentum up. And just, if you get to 150 and you put yourself in the right position, there's probably a fine line between trying too hard and not trying enough, but a lot of these young swimmers will gain experience over time, learn how to do that. So, back to the pool though, that's what they've been doing. Lane number 5, Dara Rusk, has just built that third 50 nicely. So he's turning in a 130.94, 32.5 split for him.
So we saw Dara Rusk go in some more of the endurance events at Athlone Swimmer, so he definitely does look like he's on form. He took the win in his heat yesterday in his endurance event, so let's see how he takes it for this 200 metres. He's looking strong, but it does look like one of his competitors just alongside him. He's eyeing him up. That is lane number 6. Looks like he might just be gaining a little bit of ground, so let's see how it goes in these final few strokes. But it might be lane number 6.
Top of your pool, folks.
Oh.
No, it is 6. It's a Lende. 2.42. Swam that race really well, accelerated through that last 50. If you watch that back, if you rewind the stream, you'll be able to see his rate was just higher than everyone else's at the end. So it's important to keep that rate up. If you're taking more strokes, even if it's not as efficient at the end of a race, but if you're taking more strokes, you're going to have that's more strokes to pull through the water. So
he gained a lot of ground there actually, Allende, in that last 50. It's probably about a body length his body length behind Rusk of Athlone. So yeah, he definitely clearly worked a lot on that final 50. So 2:04.20, his entry time of a 2:08. So 4-second PB for the he's 13 years old actually from Trojan. So bringing it down to a 2:04 at the age of 13. It's a strong swim there from the Trojan swimmer.
Yeah, really good. So many different ways to swim it. This event, the world record is a 142.00, the most outrageous world record I think it's on the books at the minute. Paul Biedermann of Germany from the Rome 2009 World Championships and famously beat Michael Phelps, who hadn't been beaten in years. He beat him and broke his world record in the process, smashed him. He went 50.5 for the first 100 and then 51.5 for the second 100.
That's incredible splits.
Incredible. I mean, we had Popovici in the summer, that young Romanian talent who broke the world record in the 100 meter freestyle. He went like a 142.6 or 142.5, so he'll have that world record in his sights. But it's scary to think somebody can go 141 for a turn of free. It's just
that's an incredible time.
But he's more of a sprinter, like I was saying before. It used to be 200, 400 guys. Now it's more 100, 200 is more of a sprint event. So you got to have the speed. If you don't have the speed on the 200, you're not going to get up there. But heat number 3.
Hopefully we might see the likes of Popovici showing up to our European Under-23 host in Dublin in August of this year. It'd be great to have him swimming in the NAC. But just running down through the list of names for heat number 3 of 7 in this 200, we've got Andrew Mullen in 0, Paddy Cudahy in 1, Michael O'Driscoll in 2, Robert Mullen in 3, Alexander Newman in 4, Fionn Byrne in 5, Sean O'Connor in 6, Ian Middleton in 7, Matt O'Sullivan in 8, and Samuel Wright in lane 9. Yeah,
draw a line, folks. They're all pretty close. But it is Sean O'Connor out in the 27.9, setting the pace. Top of your pool as well, Samuel Wright, the banger man, taking it out. But I like to look at the bottom of your screen. The Sunday's well swimmer there, O'Driscoll's swimming a real nice sort of long open stroke.
We've spoken a lot about the kick kind of being the engine, I guess, for front crawls. So how much time should they actually be spending in training in regards to kind of kick strength as well?
Yeah, quite a lot. I would say kick is really important for a 200, 100 freestyle. Not only the endurance kick, but the speedier kick and the technical aspect of kick. It's not only just kicking, it's like you have to kick in the right manner. So I think a good kick, I think, is really, really important. Something I wish I'd done more of in my career, because I was good at sprint kick, speed kick, but didn't have the endurance kick as good. My legs used to really struggle at the end, but what's synonymous with all the best swimmers in the world? Their kicks class, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I actually only got back in the pool about a month ago, and I tried to do a 400-meter kick, and I think I nearly died. So definitely, I was the same. I probably should have improved my kick strength when I was a swimmer. But you can kind of just show, like, again, how much training these swimmers have to do to improve this kind of 100 and 200 meter free. But just returning back to the pool now, it looks like we have just lane number 6 taking the lead, but we've got lane number 2 gaining some ground. He's watching him as he swim into this final 50 metres. He's got a very high stroke rate there, lane number 2, but I think it might be lane number 6 taking it. That's Sean O'Connor from Ennis, and he does in a 2:04.13.
Yeah, gutsy swim from all 3 of those boys that kind of separated themselves from the field. Gutsy swim from Samuel Wright out in lane 9, just taking it out. You know, just hung on from the outside lane. That's nice. I think he got a good PB there. So, yeah, he's 3 of 7, so we're moving through. Well, you'll begin to see the times drop pretty soon.
Yeah, these swimmers in heat number 4, they're probably sticking around at 2:02, 2:03. So we've spoken about these barriers in swimming before. So a lot of these swimmers, these younger swimmers, 2-minute mark is going to be their next barrier they want to break in that 200 free. Yeah,
2-minute barrier is a big one on the 200 free. So especially for sort of junior boys, it'd be more of a barrier for sort of elite level freestylers, or female freestylers, sorry. So but junior boys will want to get down under 2-minute barrier. For the boys, and not their sort of elite barrier be under the 150 barrier. Hopefully we'll see a few sub 150s maybe this morning.
We've already had some fantastic swimming over the past 3 days in our Irish Open Championship so far. So again, we've spoken about day 4. You know, it's kind of that second last day. Some of these swimmers might be a little bit tired, but hopefully we can continue with the fast swimming for this morning's heats, bringing it into this evening's finals as well. So moving on to heat number 4, again, fastest qualifier is 2:02.31. That's Ollie Brennan, the 17-year-old from Coolmine.
Yeah, so 7 heats of this, so a few more to go. Bit of a delay here. Good to see so many swimmers swimming the 200 free. It's a popular event, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I think since it's becoming more of a sprint event, it definitely has become a lot more popular.
I think it's good as well. It builds a bit of grit as opposed to anything.
Definitely. I was actually speaking to one of the coaches about it this morning. I think entering a 200 meter freestyle, even if you are a 100 meter freestyle, I think it actually improves your 100 freestyle. Yeah. If you can get that grit and determination and finish a 200 meter strong, it definitely does transfer over to those kind of more sprint events, so the 50 and the 100 as well.
I always remember I trained with Jordan Sloan, Jack McMillan. You know, they always said that when they saw him at 200 free, the 100 just seemed like it was nothing. It was 2 lengths. So whereas to me, it was like it was my main event, so it was my long event in quotation marks. But you know, when they stepped down to the 100, they were like, "Oh, it's a sprint. It's easy compared to the 200." So it's a good tactic to do that. You know, even like if you're a 200 medley person, swim a 400 medley, how grueling and brutal that is, and then when you come down to the 200, it's like, well, it's half the distance. It's easy.
Absolutely.
So it's almost like a mental thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think I was a bit of a harsh coach. I love training or coaching butterfly, and a lot of my swimmers would be 100 meter butterflies, and I loved a 200 meter butterfly when I was younger, so I do get all of my swimmers to enter that 200 meter butterfly, and it is a grueling event, but it's true. It definitely improves kind of that grit and determination, and if you can do a 200 fly, you can definitely swim a 100 fly. So,
but yeah, it's a common theme amongst coaches, that kind of idea. But middle of your pool here, really aggressive, intentful stroke from Sean Donnellan. I really like that. Look how his head stays nice and low. Just keeps that rhythm. If anything, like, you know, you can look at swimmers and say, oh, well, they've got good strokes, bad strokes, but as long as they have good rhythm and they keep the same kind of rhythm, that's what's so important. So even though I would like Sean to maybe extend a wee bit more at the front, you know, he's just got that rhythm. He's keeping that stroke, that intent the whole way.
Absolutely.
He's entered in a what, is it, India?
So we've got Sean Donnellan. He's entered in a 2:02.70.
He's
so again, we spoke before.
Under that 2-minute mark. Yeah, way under. What a swim, kid. 157.7. He'll be happy with that.
Yeah, that's
massive drop.
Fantastic swim there from the 16-year-old from Glenalbin. And like you were just saying there, David, it's you know, there's certain ways that people want to swim. I guess the 200 freestyle, but every swimmer is individual. So that stroke definitely seems to be working for him. I guess kind of working on that extension, he might be able to definitely work a little bit more on that second half of his swim. But to be able to bring it down to a 157 from a 202, that's clearly is working well for him at the moment.
Yeah, that's a huge swim from him. Gutsy swim. He'll be so happy with that. As coach of Glenalbin as well.
I really liked his breathing technique as well. We kind of talk about, I guess, in front call, you hear about that sneaky breathing where it doesn't really look like you're breathing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Mouth is so low to the water and stuff. So he definitely was able to nail that, definitely in that middle 100 as well.
So important, because if you breathe and you're not limited, if you sort of have a slight breath and you can't really, it doesn't disrupt your stroke, you know, you're going to disrupt your body so much less, and then you're going to have less drag. So if you look back go on YouTube and watch Nathan Adrian, he won the 100-meter freestyle in London 2012.
Fantastic swim.
His breath, you cannot see it.
No.
If you watch him, you think he does the whole 100 meters without breathing, but he is breathing. It's just so fast, doesn't affect his hips at all. It's really, really, really impressive. So if you ever got a chance, go and look at that.
Absolutely. And all you'll notice about him is he's probably the smiliest swimmer I think I've ever seen in the history of swimming.
Lovely guy.
Yeah, lovely guy.
Giant as well.
Yeah.
Moving on now, we've got Robert Powell in the middle, Liam Custer as well. More distance swimmer, Liam Custer, training out in Stanford. Sunday's well affiliated though. But Powell, you know, has been a real good freestyler over the years. Used to hate racing him, never give up. Coming in, he had a good swim in his 100, 50-point high, off his best, but he's sort of had some struggles with training and he's doing a lot of school work at the minute. So interesting to see what he has here in this 200. He said he was feeling confident for it. So first of our seeded heats of this men's 200-meter freestyle.
Yeah, so again, like you said, David, first of our seeded heat, so we've definitely seen an increase in pace here. Again, fastest qualifier, Robbie Powell, lane number 4 in a 1:51.63. So quickly running through the names: Noah Switzer in 0, Brogan McAvini in 1, Ben David in 2, Matthew Walsh-Hushley in 3, Robbie Powell in 4, Liam Custer in 5, Connor Fitzgerald in 6, Max Upton in 7, Jamie Allison in 8, and Sean Bugler in lane number 9. But it looks like lane number 3, that's Matthew Walsh-Hushley, is going to take that first 50, and he does in a 26.60. That's a fast start there, David.
Yeah, really fast start, just sort of taking control. Powell will just be swimming through this lovely long stroke, but it is Walsh-Hussley who took this one out. He's probably thinking, I need to take this out fast. Use the other swimmers' pace and energy to get me out there. But they're all very tight coming into the turn. We've also got Conor Fitzgerald of National Centre Limerick, young freestyle talent as well, but they're all out 55, 56.
I love watching Robbie swim, to be honest. Like, look at that glide. He looks like proper distance per stroke on every single stroke. He looks quite comfortable there, doesn't he?
Yeah, you need to get a move on though, Rob. Don't leave it too long, buddy. But it is Hussey just taking control. So Hussey will know here coming into the finish. Oh, sorry, into the last turn. He'll be thinking, he'll know exactly how much he's got left in the tank. Important to accelerate into this last turn. With Liam Custer and Fitzgerald now, and expect Powell to come through at the end. Custer will have that good engine room at the end. Powell's legs beginning to go. Fitzgerald at the top, hanging tight. But Walsh-Hussley is hanging on. But Powell coming through now though.
Yeah, it looks like Custer might take this one. It looks like lane number 5, he's really powering down this last 50, so I'd say those splits are going to be pretty impressive. But Robbie Powell also gaining a good bit of ground here, so all these swimmers, yeah, finishing strong there, 1:55.49.
Yeah, 1:55, pretty slow for those guys there. I'm not gonna lie. 1:55 is, they'll all want to be faster than that tonight.
Yeah, I'd say they're all just looking for certain lanes there in the final swim and probably saving themselves there for the final swim.
So yeah, they'll all want to be faster than that tonight, so be interesting to see. Nathan Whiffen as well. We know he'll go for it. Real good attitude, Nathan Whiffen. I interviewed him last night in the next heat.
Brilliant interview there.
You know, and he missed the European under 23 time by 0.0 or 0.3 or something on an 800 as well. And I went to interview him. I thought it was going to be more of a somber interview, but he was just buzzing. He got a 10-second PB.
10-second PB.
He was like, "No, I love it."
I think he just loves racing.
He just loves it. Yeah, it's just such a fresh way to think. I really, really like it. Him and his brother just, they don't care what they say. They just, you know, Daniel wants to break a world record. Okay. Nathan wants to go to the Olympics. Okay. You know, they go out, they set it out there, and they own it. You know, it's a really fresh way to be, and just that constant aura of positivity. They're the kind of people when you speak to, you come away from and you're like,
you're smiling.
You're smiling, yeah.
Yeah. So we said it before, they're the most cool, calm, collected swimmers I think I've ever seen on the bank. Like you said, you know, talking about Daniel, you know, does want to set a world record? Sure, let's go for it this year, you know. And then the same with Nathan as well. Like I was waiting for your interview to come through when he was 0.3 off that European consideration time, and you know, to still be buzzing that he saw him a 10-second PB. You can clearly just see that these boys just absolutely love to race. They absolutely love to swim.
They do. They absolutely do. It's so fresh to see.
Moving on to...
Saying that though, I'm not seeing Nathan down there, so we've just picked him up and he didn't even show up. Nathan, what are you doing?
Nathan, what are you doing?
I'll have a word with you later.
Another interview, probably be happy and clappy.
Nathan, I picked you up for about 3 minutes and you didn't even show up.
Well, let's focus then on Jack Casson. He will be taking lane number 4, so he's already shown that he's definitely on form this weekend, and we said he's a multi-talent. He's taken the Irish senior record in the 400 IM and then also breaking that Irish junior record, the decade-long one set by Brendan Highland last night. So let's see how he performs in the 200 as well.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing Casson's. I enjoyed his freestyle on the 400 medley. Thought it was really good, but interesting to see how he approaches this one when it's just freestyle. Obviously, supremely fit athlete, or you know, to be able to do a 400 medley and a 422, you know, you got to be super fit. So expect him to have a strong back end. It'll be the front end that'll be harder for him, I think. But then again, I'm saying that, and just as I'm saying that, he's the Irish junior record holder on the 100 fly, so he does have speed too. So interesting to see here, but bottom of your screen, lane number 1.
Yeah, look at the distance on lane number 1 there, like the length of his arms. He's gaining a lot of ground on every single stroke. But
Colgan as well in lane number 6. Interesting guy. Really, really tall, low-beach stroke. Hasn't actually been swimming like competitively and you know, training-wise for that long. He's only upped his training very recently, but he's super talented. He's still learning so much about the sport. How to race of certain events, how to approach different things. So as expected though it is Casson, I expect him to come home super strong. 54.9 out. 28.6. He'll want another 28 here. He'll not want this to drop to a 29. That's what I spoke about before. You do not want to have your third 50. If you want it slower, you don't want it a lot slower. You want it to be in and around the same. Build it through, but Casson should be able to because of his more distance medley background. But he's coming through nicely. Keep an eye on the clock, India.
Yeah, even his strength, that stroke rate's been quite high from the start, and he was able to maintain that throughout the entire 200. So turning there on a 28.82, another split. So again, his entry time of let's have a look, 1:51.45.
Yeah, so he went 28.8 for the middle 100. I spoke about that earlier a few heats ago. That middle 100, so important to keep them going. He's coming home really well. Entry time of 1:51. I think he might just be outside that. Yeah, 1:52.4. That's a good swim. He's had a huge program. So I can't go underestimated that. By day 4 you're tired. So to even be picking up, he's happy enough. Yeah, he knows. Yeah,
he's happy. He's smiling. He's nodding his head. So I think he knows that again, we've kind of seen Jack. He's definitely a performer in the evening as well, isn't he? So I think he knows he's on form there after that 200 swim. So
he'll be excited for tonight. He'll be right in the mix for the win. Coming in this last heat now. So yeah, it's confirmation of results there. 1:52.42. That's our fastest qualifier so far by about 3 seconds.
And you're saying you'd like to see quite a few swimmers kind of break that 150
barrier
tonight.
We need to keep that down there. McGeever's a 1:48.2, 1:48.3 guy. Bailey's got a lot ahead of him. He's a really strong 100-meter freestyler, 100-meter butterflyer. So it's really interesting to see what he'll go here in this 200 and how he approaches it. Expect McGeever. He's a young talent. Really, really sort of had the swim of his life to qualify for Tokyo. 2 years ago now. Seems like yesterday.
It does, doesn't it? We only got Paris around the corner now as well.
Yeah, it comes around so quick, doesn't it?
Yeah,
and all this will be focused on Paris. That all these swimmers that are at that level will not so much be thinking about the summer, but they'll be thinking about next year.
Absolutely, they are 4-year cycles, obviously, between Olympics and stuff. But to these swimmers, 4 years is actually nothing. You know, when it comes to transferring from the short course season to their long course season, there's only a few events that they have in between. You know, those kind of like major events that they have. So they'll have world championships every 2 years as well. But their main focus is going to be the Olympics for these swimmers.
I suppose it's so close because the Tokyo Olympics was actually only 2 years.
2021,
so it's only 3 years.
3 year cycle for these swimmers.
So it's crazy. So there's a lot of schedule coming up. You know, they've got the World Championships this summer in Fukuoka, Japan, and there's another World Championships next February in Doha, Qatar. You know, because they're trying to pretty much make up the World Championships that they missed.
They missed in COVID, yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what swimmers sort of go to that one in February, because a lot of swimmers will have already qualified for the Olympics.
So it's difficult for a tapering then as well.
So will they go there and even go there unrested, and it'll be very weird to see. But final heat, men's 200 meter freestyle. Interesting to see the different tactics here. Bailey looks nice and high, a lot of pop on his stroke, coming right out of the water, that high elbow kind of stroke. But it is Bailey and McGeever coming into this first 50.
How do you feel they'll take this swim, David? Do you think that they'll just comfortably try and get a middle lane for the final swim, or do you feel from those splits that they're going to push themselves?
I don't think they'll push themselves too much by the looks of things. I think, I always viewed it that just put yourself in a good position, have a strong swim in the morning, a good swim in the morning. If that means 95%, even 98%, that's fine. But I never really like just going really slow in the morning and leaving like 3-4 seconds in the tank, because by the time, if you train your body to do that, by the time you get to a World Championships or European Championships in the morning, your body isn't as prepared as it would be to swim fast in the morning, So that's the way I view it. Some swimmers are very good at it. Danielle Hill, doesn't affect her, but it's a real problem. I think that for some swimmers, they're not used to swimming fast in the morning because they don't need to make a final here. So
absolutely, I'd agree with that. Like when it came to my swimming, I want to stay more relaxed, I guess, with a heat swim, but doesn't necessarily mean I want to swim slow. I kind of just want to go into it, less pressure on myself when it came to a heat swim, but still wanted to produce a decent time. But we do have our kind of clear favourite here. I think coming into this final 50, it looks like Evan Bailey might be taking this last heat of the men's 200 metre front crawl. So he's going to be looking to get himself a good lane for the final swim this evening.
Yeah, Bailey took it out. He's got a lovely long stroke, really good leg kick behind him, keeping that constant. McGeever just lacking a wee bit here at the end, but he'll be back tonight. But it is going to be Bailey right around that 152 mark. 152.07 for Bailey. Danny Morgan, great swim from him.
Yeah, so
he was a 154 before this. He's dropped that to a 153. So PB for him. McGeever in a 153. So 152, the fastest qualifier. All those boys who want to be going faster tonight, pushing that down there.
Evan Bailey will be taking the centre lane in this evening's final, and then alongside Jack Casson, he will be going alongside him. So strong swims there from the men's 200 metre freestyle. We definitely know that we'll be seeing some faster swims this evening. Again, David looking for a couple of swimmers to go in below that 150 mark, so hopefully we will see it this evening as well.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be good to see. Obviously we had great 200 freestyles before, all down in the 146, 147s, 148s, so don't want to let that drop off. Want to get back down, continue that progression of that event.
So we're moving on to a new event now. We have the women's 200 metre butterfly. So we've only got 2 heats of this event. It's not the most popular event in the world, is it? The 200 fly.
And for good reason.
And for good reason.
It's definitely brutal.
Definitely one of my favourites, I guess, when I was a youth swimmer. But like we said, David, as you get a little bit older, you kind of want to transfer more to those sprint events, don't you?
Yeah, 200 flies, it's in a world of its own. It's tough, really, really tough to do, especially for younger athletes. It's hard for younger athletes to do it. Young girls that mightn't be as strong, maybe 13, 14, 15. You can do a 200 free, but a 200 fly, it's not worth it if you're not really strong enough to do it. So
I guess it's an attractive event in the sense that not many people actually many people enter it. So for some swimmers that might be decent at that 100 fly, they might try and transfer it over to the 200 because there's not that many competitors within it. But for me, to be honest, there was nothing harder than a 200 fly, but no better feeling than finishing a 200 fly. It's just one of the best races to finish, and know that you swam well in it.
I suppose if you can swim a 200 fly well, you're in good shape, you're fit. It'll transfer to the other events comfortably. So. But just grueling event, especially on day 4 as well. Tough to do it on day 4, it's tough going. But only the 2 heats, so all these swimmers will get a second swim tonight, so you might see swimmers just turning up and just going through the motions.
I'll never forget my first 200 fly. I was put into the men's 200 meter IM instead because I was the only competitor to enter the 200 fly at that event. Yeah, so
and they didn't even give you your own event.
They didn't even give me my own event, so I swam alongside the men in the 200 meter IM. But I had my coach Bill McCarthy there alongside me, and hug for me at the end of my 200 fly.
How old were you?
Only a teeny bopper at that age. Yeah.
They didn't even give you your own event.
Didn't give me my own event, but no.
Tot.
I'll never forget it. Good experience. So still in my head was either.
Some of these girls. Then I'm trying to. There's a 14-year-old doing this.
Again, like you said, yeah, kind of these young girls, they haven't really gained their strength yet, but to be able to swim the 200 fly at 14 years of age, it's impressive swim there. So only 2 heats. Looks like we might have a little bit of technical difficulty in lane number 5. So the girls are just being held behind the blocks for a moment. And again, that's experience with them as well, isn't it? We've spoken about it before. We've had a couple of technical issues, and being held behind the block when you're kind of pumped up for your event. This is just about keeping calm and keeping cool, isn't it?
Yeah, any delay, like you see all these swimmers, let me have a look down at them. Yeah, not one of them has put their jumper or tracksuit back on, but you lose a significant amount of body heat when you take off all your tracksuit, before your race. And body heat is directly equated to performance. It's been shown in numerous studies that if your body heat before your race is higher, you'll swim faster. Like, it's a direct correlation. So you'll see if this was a more experienced maybe heat, you'll see swimmers like Danielle Hill, Mona McSharry, Ellen Walsh, they all would just straight back jumper on because you lose so much heat. If you ever see some swimmers and you think it's hot in this arena, folks, it's really, really warm. But they're still wearing like so many layers, and even there's a lot of different sort of technological advances where you can get, have you heard of this, India? It's like tracksuit bottoms, but there's like a battery in them that heats your legs up. So you literally press a button and it's like almost like walking around with an electric blanket attached to your legs to keep your legs warm.
Pretty much, yeah, because it's very different environmental heat versus actually keeping the muscles warm. That's what they're looking for when it comes to kind of these, like keeping the tracksuits on, keeping the clothes on. It's keeping the heat within the muscle as well, so making sure that the muscles are still firing, because you'll have seen these girls jumping about the place and now they've actually just had a sit down, so it's like the muscles have switched off as well now, so they're not fired up and stuff. So it is about trying to keep those muscles firing before their race and stuff like that. So hopefully these girls can get a couple of jumps in before they go for this 200 fly. Maybe they're trying to conserve energy for a 200 fly, we don't know.
True.
Yeah.
True. Didn't think of that. But it looks like we're all sorted now.
And our Irish senior record holder in this event is Michelle Smith. So that was back in 1996. That is a 2:09.91. So fast swim there for a 200 fly. But our Irish junior record is held by Gráinne Murphy. Again, long-standing record. That's back from 2009. That's a 2:13.66. We've also got the Iron Lady as our meet record holder. Katinka Hossey was here. 2:12.24 she swam.
2013, I remember she was here, yeah. But here we go. Heat 1 of 2. You'll see a big spread in the field here, folks, from, the fastest swimmers. Sharon Semchi, 2:20.0, and then the slowest qualifiers, 2:51. So you're going to see a big spread in distance. Already seeing that.
Absolutely. So
one smart swimmer in lane 7 decided not to do it.
Yeah.
But here we go.
On this 200 fly, these girls, again, we've spoken about the kind of oxygen debt that you'll see on a 100 fly, those last few strokes, really you can see some swimmers tiring up if they've taken it out too hard. So what these swimmers want to be doing on this first kind of 100 of the 200 fly is setting their breathing pattern. So you'll see a lot of these swimmers, they're either going to breathe every 1, they're either going to breathe every 2, or they're going to breathe every 3, but they're going to want to maintain that pretty much throughout the entire 200, maybe on the last 50, slightly changing it up coming into that last 25, but it's about maintaining that oxygen going through the muscles so they can keep that good undulation, that good chest drive, and keeping those arms actually spinning over and grabbing that water as well. Yeah,
like India said, rhythm so important, momentum and rhythm so important on a 200 meter butterfly. But it is Semchi through on a 1:07.48 for the first 50. Comfortable.
Again, Again, there are only two heats of this 200-meter fly, so pretty much all these girls are guaranteed a final swim this evening anyway. So you never know, some of these girls might be taking it out fast this morning and maybe pull out of the final. 200 fly, again, a grueling event, but some of them actually might just be kind of cruising through and again finding how they're feeling in this 200 fly as well. But again, we've kind of got this, we've got a clear winner on this first heat anyway. We've got our Sundays well swimmer, so again, it's about nailing the technical things as well on a 200 fly as well, hitting the wall perfectly and nailing those underwaters too. Underwaters can save you a little bit on a 200 fly, so really trying to make sure you can gain a little bit of ground on those underwaters so you're not using the arms as much as well.
Yeah, a bit of a long turn there for Sharon. Really nice when the lactate is absolutely swelling through the muscles and you start to go up and down as opposed to forward.
Yeah,
it's just about keeping that kick constant, and like India said, your breathing pattern constant. You don't want to start switching things up, because your body then doesn't know what it's doing. You almost want to go into robot mode and just go through it. The motions have that good rhythm.
Yeah, it looks like
she's entered in at what time? 2:20?
2:20. It looks like she's hurting a little bit coming towards the end. So yeah, she's finishing in a 2:26.27. I think maybe Sharon took it out just a little bit too strong in that 107. Again, we want to see that easy speed in that first 100. So she was definitely tying up in that last 25. But I think she's comfortably made a good position in a final tonight. So again, we've only got 2 heats. So all of these girls are probably going to get a second swim. So she might want to just have a go back, chat to her coach, have a look through things and just see where she can change up those splits just a little bit as well. Sometimes it is about, giving yourself that little bit of a break, I guess, on that first 100 so you can come back faster because, the pros and cons of going out faster and trying to maintain a 200 fly. Sometimes it is just better going out about maybe 90% effort and being able to actually kick down in that final 50.
Yeah, spot on, India. And really, I expect to see faster swims from Semchi tonight. But all those swimmers back tonight, should they want to do it again.
We've got Alana Burns-Atkin coming up into our second heat of this event. So we know that Alana has had a strong short course season as well. So she was doing really well back in December at our short course championships. She was really, really good at her underwater. She definitely, I think she made the podium there on the 200 fly. At the short course season, so she's entered in here in a 2:18.80. So if she's looking to break that 2:18, she's probably going to be looking to go out in a 1:05, 1:06 again. Comfortable swim for that first 100, and then bringing it home on that second 200. But let's see how she goes in this 200-meter heat. Again, she's pretty much guaranteed a final swim. So we're just getting the girls up on the blocks here for this second heat. Again, so all the girls in the water here. So let's just quickly run down through the names of heat number 2. We've got Beth Catney of Lurgan in lane 0. We've got Emily Edgar in lane 1. We've got Hannah Malloy of Trojan in lane 2. We've got Ruth Kelly of New Ross in lane 3. Alana Burns-Atkin, again, fastest qualifier, the 17-year-old from Banbridge in a 2:18.80. Hannah O'Shea in lane number 5. We've got Eva Bailey in lane 6. Sarah Sally in lane 7, Katie Kelly in lane 8, and Sophie Jess in lane number 9. But it is Alana Burns-Atkin. She is taking the first 50 in a 29.99. So that's a strong start there from Alana. So we can have a look at her breathing pattern here. I think she is starting off kind of breathing every 1, then breathing every 2. But that might be the rhythm for her. She might be taking, kind of breaths every 1, breaths every 2. But she's looking strong. She's got a good drive. She's got a good undulation. And again, like I said, in that short course season, we definitely have seen that Alana has really started to pick up her pace, that 17-year-old from Banbridge. So let's see what she turns on in this first 100. Entry time 2:18.80. So she's going to be looking to go that 1:05 mark. And she does 1:05.89 for that first 100 if she's going to be looking to kind of go below that 2:18 mark.
Yeah, Alana Burns-Atkin, this is her main event. So she'll be looking for qualification times for the European Juniors and maybe the under 23s as well. So keep an eye on those.
I am intrigued by her 200 fly, to be honest. She kind of breathes every 1, breathes every 2. She hasn't really got a set breathing pattern here, so probably is more she's trying to gauge the wall to make sure she's hitting the wall perfectly on every single 50, which she is doing. She's hitting the wall dead on, hitting the wall with 2 hands, and then she's got a decent underwater there as well. So she's just turned on a 1:42.26, so that's a 36 second split. So she's looking strong coming down this last 50. Doesn't really look like she's tying up.
Holding
so
the
again,
technique, isn't she?
Yeah, she's good technique there on the 200 fly. So she is experienced in this 200 fly. Like you said, David, it's probably her favourite event. So she knows exactly what she needs to do to make sure she's not tying up. But it does kind of look like these last 12 metres might be hurting just a little bit more.
Yeah, but she's going to be comfortably through tonight. Bit of a long glide, 2:20.46, just outside her best of a 2:18.8. So back tonight for that'll be a good race between her and Semchi. Other swimmers just completing this, like India said, a lot of them just probably be doing it for more that training focus aspect of it, building a bit of mental, physical resilience.
Absolutely. 200 fly is actually a great tactical race as well. So especially if you do know the kind of speed of your competitors too. So I know when I was swimming a 200 fly, I used to kind of like to hang on the shoulders of those kind of swimming beside me, and then I could really kick down. So again, kind of using that easy speed for the first 100 and knowing if they're going to take it out, say in a 102, 103, that I can kind of hang off their shoulders and then really kick down on that third 50. So I say a lot of these girls know what their competitors, how they swim a 200 fly as well. So like you said, it should be a good race there between Sharon and Alana in this final swim this evening.
Yep, that concludes the women's 200-metre butterfly, just the two heats, as we mentioned. Moving on now to the men's 100-metre breaststroke. A lot of good names in this one. Dara Green narrowly missed out in that qualification for the World Championships this summer. But he's a great 200 breaststroker as well. I really fancy him to get that done this morning or tonight. Also got Corby and that Usain Cook. A lot of really talented breaststrokers. There always is, like I was mentioning yesterday, always been like talented breaststrokers on the island of Ireland. Back through Andrew Bree, Nicholas Quinn. Always had a good way to produce male breaststrokers. Here we are, just the first heat of this men's 200-metre breaststroke, and we have three swimmers. Lane 3, Levi Clark. Lane 4, Aaron Hare. And in lane 5, Ignat Samichov of Leash. So moving through this breaststroke, it's important just to keep that length of glide, keep that, it's very different to the 100 and the 50 that, this is really determined by strong timing and length of stroke. You can shorten that stroke, and a lot of these swimmers should know the amount of strokes. I know Andrew Bree, close friend of mine, always talked about he knew exactly the amount of strokes. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it would be something like 13, 15, 15, 19, and those were the 4 different 50s. He would know the exact amount of strokes, and he visualized it in his head, and he went to the race and just did it. So it's a real sort of breaststroke. It's more of a power-based stroke, leg-driven stroke compared to the other 3 strokes, sorry. So kind of in a world of its own, but as we come through the heats, we'll see different techniques, different styles, different ways to swim the event. But out first it is Aaron Hare of Bangor. He's out in a 1:17.3, coming in an entry time of 2:47.4, so he'd be right around there to get under that. Just keeping that, as you begin to get tired, to keep that glide becomes harder and harder, because all you want to do is shorten out the stroke, because your drag becomes more, you're bobbing up and down more, so you feel like you need to take more strokes to kind of make up for that. But you're the most streamlined in this stroke when you're gliding right at the end. You look at any world-class male 200 breaststroker. Zach Stubblety Cook is the world record holder, the Australian Olympic champion. But a great example is Anton Shupkov, the Russian. He used to hold the world record. His glide was unbelievable. So when you do this stroke and you glide, you've got so much drag when you're pulling and kicking, but then you're most streamlined when you're gliding, so you need to maximize that glide.
Absolutely. It's probably one of the most, coordinated of the 4 strokes. So there's there's a lot to think about. There's a lot about timing your breath properly alongside your kick and the initial part of your pull as well. So, but like you said, David, like probably where you're going to gain the most strength, because your least amount of resistance is going to be that underwater, if you can actually nail that kind of streamline position, so really getting your head in between those two shoulders. So it looks like it's a tight battle between these two swimmers, but it does look like lane number 4 might just take the first heat of this 200 metre breaststroke, and it is lane number 4, 2:44.74, so 3-second PB there for the 3-second PB there from the banger. Supposed to start to the 200 metre breaststroke for men.
Yeah, good swim, Aaron. I'm bringing up third place. It is Ignat Samchov at 2:58. Good bit outside his best. You can't get a PB every time, but that's the first heat in the books. As I was saying before, really looking forward to seeing Owen Corby and Dara Green in this. They've had some great battles over the last few years.
Absolutely. We've got the Irish senior record held by Dara Green in a 2:10.05. So what kind of time would he be looking to split on that first 100 if he's looking to go beneath that Irish senior record?
Beneath the Irish senior record, I would say you need to be out in a 103. Yeah, 103 maybe.
Yeah.
102 high would be nice.
Kind of got different styles between the two swimmers, don't we, Dara and Owen? So we've got one that kind of takes out a little bit harder in that first 100, and then we've got another that has a stronger back.
It's kind of strange. If you looked at the two of them physically, you'd think Owen would be the more sort of sprinty kind of one.
Yeah.
You know, but it's actually kind of the other way around. You know, Dara's got immense speed and power and twitch. She's got a fantastic 50 breaststroke time of 26 high, 26.9.
26.9, yeah.
Whereas Corby's a lot more kind of controlled and brings it home very well. You know, so it's interesting. The mix between the fast and slow twitch fibres of the genetic makeup of the lads. We're in the heat number 2 now. Full roster.
And yeah, we've got 6 heats of this prelims. So again, these swimmers, probably not these heats, but they're going to be trying to post fast times in this heat swim, because again, we only have the 3 finals this evening. So fastest qualifier here in heat number 2, we've got Ryan McDowell. He's a 16-year-old from Ireland, so 2:43.22 as his entry time.
Yeah, we're running through the heat very quickly. Alan Korchenko is in lane 0 of Banbridge. McCabe is 1 from Trojan. Lane 2, Conor Lanigan, Trident. Lane 3, the 14-year-old Dare Finlayson, as India said. Lane 4, Ryan McDowell. Lane 5, Aidan McGrath, Dolphin. The Trojan swimmer, Leonardo Diallo, is in lane 6. Brendan Pretorius is next to him in lane 7. And he's joined by Matthias Pickett and Ross McComb in 8 and 9.
Yeah, we've got our clear leader here already from the start. So it's Ryan McDowell, that 16-year-old from Ireland. But again, like we said, we have different tactics when it comes to the 200 metre breaststroke. So again, we have some swimmers that might take it out a little bit harder in that first 100 and try and maintain that pace on the second 200. But we've spoken about it before. The most important thing, I guess, when it comes to a breaststroke event is to not spin your arms, isn't it, David? And to actually make sure that you're grasping the water on every single stroke.
Absolutely, control, feel the water and glide. Like I said in the last heat, you need to own that glide and have such a strong kick. You know, one of my closest friends, Daniel Sweeney, was a phenomenal kicker on breaststroke. Was definitely his strength. He was a 212 guy. You know, and his kick, he would just kick on a board, build that endurance in the legs, build that technique in the legs. You know, it's so vitally important. Very different to the rest. The other 3 strokes, your kick counts for about 70% of your propulsion. So you'll find no good breaststroke with a bad breaststroke kick. But it is McDowell, lane 4, the Ard swimmer, taking control of this one, coming into the last 50.
Yeah, Dan Sweeney was a great competitor to our evening commentator, wasn't it, Nicholas Quinn, as they were kind of coming.
2 of them, yeah, they
ranks.
went back and forth every single year since we were 10 years old. Dan to be faster one year, then Nick, then Dan, then Nick, then Dan. It was unbelievable. And then Nick got the last laugh qualifying for Rio Olympics. Dan narrowly missing out. But the fantastic races down the years.
So then we've got a fantastic race here in the pool as well. So we had Ryan taking the lead for that first 150 metres, but it looks like lane number 5 is going to be taking the touch. That's Aidan McGrath of Dolphin. Again, his entry time 2:43.28. Looks like he's going to be smashing that here now. So, and he does in a 2:39.67. So great to break that 2:40 barrier for that swimmer as well.
Yeah, just up the rate really well at the end there. Just, you know, just sometimes you need to just get the rate going, take more strokes, leave it all in the pool. The worst feeling in the world, those of you that are watching that haven't really swam or raced, is to do a race
Yeah.
and get out and you think, I could have given more.
Yeah, I was just going to say lane number 1 there looked like he was really gave it socks in the end. You know, it actually is kind of nice to see, I guess, when you see the swimmers who, you know, hanging off the lane rope or hanging off the wall, you know that they've given it 100% effort. And like you said, it is a bad feeling when you finish a swim, especially a final swim per se, and you kind of feel like you had an extra like 5% left in you.
Yeah, you never ever want to do that, leave anything in the pool. So that's heat 2 in the books. On to heat 3, there's 6 heats of this, so one more heat before we get into a serious drop in time, before we get to our seeded heats.
That's your lineup there, folks. So we'll run through the list of names once these swimmers are in the water. So they're just walking out there behind the bank as well. So again, these swimmers getting prepped for a fast swim in their heat swim this morning, because like David said, we've got 3 faster heats coming up now. So these swimmers are going to really be looking to push their personal best in this heat swim.
So these swimmers stripping off now. Just, I said you want to do it at the very last minute. Strip off, get ready to swim. And all swimmers going through their different pre-race routines, different body shapes, different heights. Breaststroke's a funny one where sort of you don't have to be the tallest to be the best. You know, Kitajima for years, 200 breaststroke, double Olympic champion from Athens and Beijing. He was tiny. He was 5'7" maybe.
Yeah, he was
tiny.
Yeah, tiny. Yeah.
Just technically so good. Here we go. Heat number 3.
Yeah, so just running down through the list of names there, folks. So we do have an empty lane in lane number 7, but the rest of the swimmers here, we've got Leo Callahan, the 16-year-old, in lane 0, Ben Cardwell in lane 1, Ryan McGinley in 2, Zach Moyo in lane 3, Brian Fitzpatrick in 4, Jake Sweeney in 5, Charlie Morris in 6, we've got Sasha Lychuk in 8, we've got Emilian Petre in lane number 9.
Yeah, looks at lane number 3 here. Zach Moyo, real big guy. Just taking it out, that long loping stroke. He's going to utilize that glide. And the long course 200 breaststroke, very different to the short course breaststroke. Obviously, the short course breaststroke got 7 turns as opposed to the only the 3 long course. So, you know, a majority of a 200 breaststroke short course is spent actually underwater doing underwater pullouts. So, really different kind of fitness level required for the long course event. But it is Moyo taking control, but other than that, it's quite hard to split, isn't it, India?
Yeah, it is. It does look like lane number 1 might just be gaining a little bit of ground coming into the turn of this first 100, but Moyo looking controlled here, turning in a 1:16.07. Again, his entry time there, Moyo, we've got a 2:41.11, so he's going to have a strong second 100 here if he wants to be breaking that PB, but we've definitely got an increase in stroke right there from lane number 5, Jake Sweeney, the Trojan swimmer, so he looks like he's going to be taking the lead coming into this third 50 now.
Yeah, I like Jake Sweeney's stroke. Good bit of intent to it. You can see him throwing the hands forward. See the shoulders kind of popping up as he does each stroke. I always like to see that, you know, intent with each stroke. So he's kind of making his way through the field nicely, but Moyo still that long glide. Hard to split, hardly at all. Yeah, only 1/100th of a second. It is Moyo still in the lead, so you'll see these swimmers now pick up the rate, pick up the amount of strokes they take into this last 50 coming through.
Yeah, Moyo's got that really long stroke, doesn't he? He's got like a really good glide, the height of him as well, and that wingspan that he's got, so gaining a little bit of ground coming into this last 25 metres. He's picked up the stroke rate well, coming on that last 25, diving that head in between those shoulders. Again, his entry time 2:41 coming into this event. And I think he's going to be, breaking that 240 barrier himself today in a 2:36, I'm going to say. Yeah, 2:36.91.
Yeah, he adjusted his strokes really well there. He knew he was going to get sort of stuck on a like half stroke or a really long glide, so he sort of shortened his last 2 strokes a little bit to try and get in. So that's real good, smart swimming there at the end of that race from Moyo.
You know, definitely, and like you were saying, kind of at the start of that race, we have different body shapes there. So we kind of had lane number 5, and we had Moyo there as well in lane number 3. So very different body types, but I guess technically they just have to swim it in different ways as well, don't they? So it doesn't really matter, your height doesn't really matter, anything like that. It's just kind of adjusting your stroke, I guess, to your body type as well. Like we have the likes of the Scandinavians, they're like over 6 foot, majority of them, but then we've got the likes of the Irish. Probably haven't got many swimmers over 6 foot, but we're definitely still on the map in comparison to other European countries.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah,
especially in recent years, and I suppose maybe breaststroke you can afford to be a bit shorter because there's so much drag.
Absolutely.
You know, so probably the shorter you are, the less drag you'll have. But here we go, Green coming up. Looking forward to seeing him in this 200. Love watching him race. Liam O'Connor next to him as well. But it'll be Green comfortably in front here. He's got a time to do. I think it's 2:11.5. It's his consideration for the World Championships. Let me double check that for you folks.
Yeah, so
2:10.3 automatic. 2:11.63 is the consideration.
Yes. So first of our seeded heats, again, like David said, our fastest qualifier is Dara Green. He's got an entry time here of 2:14.40. Do you think he'll take it out fast? Do you think he'll use this as a potential swim for himself, or do you think he'll leave it for the final?
I think he should go for it. I don't see why he wouldn't give himself 2 chances, but he looks kind of ready, so
yeah, he looks focused here.
We'll kind of know he needs to be out at 20. 29 mid. You know, 29.5 probably first 50 would be what I'd want from Dara here. So we'll see. Strong front half swimmer. Tight, punchy stroke. So we need to be out maybe a 29.5. I would like to see Dara out in.
His underwater and his breakouts are always fantastic.
Always on point, yeah, always. He's a good technical swimmer. Powerful guy as well. So he's tight little kick he's got there. See, his knees are hard. It's hardly coming out outside his body line, so everything's staying streamlined.
Yeah, his hips stay up really high as well, up to the water. So 30.85, probably not the fastest start there for Dara.
30.8, yeah. I wanted him to be a wee bit faster than that, but maybe he's got other ideas of bringing it home a bit faster.
Again, we've got that Terraneer swimmer beside him, the 18-year-old Liam O'Connor. His entry time is a 2:22.61. So he might be using this as a swim as well, you know, kind of drafting off Dara here, coming down this first 100. But we'll have a look at their 100 splits and see what they're capable of in this heat swim.
Yeah, he's kind of coasting through here. 64.4 out. He's going to have a big back end to come back for that time. But technically looking really proficient, as he always does. Really like how he's swimming again. You know, he struggled for a few years. You know, didn't get the performance he wanted in Tokyo, but you know, it's...
No, like you say, he's got a very efficient stroke there, David. So again, any young swimmers watching, count the number of strokes he takes here now on this last 50. He's probably not swimming the fastest he has done, but you can see how efficient he is in his stroke. So he's got a good turn on him, good underwater. So we have a count of these strokes on the way back, but he just turned there in a 33.91. Don't think it's going to be the fastest swim here for Dara, but at least he's kind of brushing off those cobwebs and getting a swim in.
Yeah, he'll come into the wall here and coast through this race nicely. 200 breast, tough one, especially coming off the back of the 50 and the 100 breast. So he's coming in here. You can just see the clock sneaking towards that 2:10 mark, but he's going to be slightly outside that 2:11.6 that he needs. 2:12.85, a solid swim. Solid swim. Definitely not the worst. O'Connor coming in at 2:21.2, so Green just needs to find a second. 1.2, 1.3. Kind of, and he definitely can. I think that first 50 definitely was just like too slow, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he just took that first 50 just a little bit too slow. I don't know if he's happy, sad, if he's comfortable or what there. So we're finishing at the wall, but
poker face on there.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we know Dara. You know, Dara can, you can rise to competition as well in the evening swim. So hopefully, when we have some fast swimmers beside him in that final swim, he might be able to pull it out of the bag. And like you said, probably just needs to take out that first 50, that first 100 just a little bit stronger, because we know he has a strong back end.
And then of course you'll have a Corby tonight. You know, more of a race, so that'll help too. So yeah, he'll be 2:12. It's a good swim, Dara. Moving on now, it's Usain Cook is the fastest qualifier for this next penultimate heat of the men's 200-meter breaststroke. Was talking to his coach Ross Douglas last night at dinner. And he was a bit disappointed in Cook that he didn't attack more that 100 breaststroke. He felt he could have given a bit more, so a bit more intent. So that's exactly what he'll have been working on with him in the warm-ups. A bit more intent, a bit more pop to your stroke, a bit more purpose. Because in breaststroke it's important to set that stroke up with real good throwing the hands through, really strong control, but also with real intent.
Absolutely. We've spoken, about kind of taking, I guess, the first 100 a little bit more control, but taking it too control can also be a bit of a disadvantage because you can never really gain that stroke rate back, or you can never really gain that kind of grasp on the water back as well. If you don't get it from the start, you're not gonna be able to grab it then kind of that second 100 or that middle 100.
Absolutely, it's about that happy medium. All sports kind of probably about that. But we're away.
Yeah, moving on to heat number 5, guys. We'll just quickly run through the names of our second final heat. So we've got Ben Glover in 0, we've got Ricky Fain in lane 1, Adam Manley in lane 2, Adam Wilson in 3, Oisin Cook, again that fastest qualifier, the 22-year-old from Tuam, he's in at 2:13.54. He takes lane number 4. Lachlan Reid in 5, Paul Cox in 6, Jake Logan in 7, John Mulhall in 8, and Callum Slagter in lane number 9.
Cook glides very well, folks. He really holds that glide. 30.2, so he's out faster than Green. He really holds that glide. So watch. So there's 1 glide. Lovely glide there. Definitely a real efficient stroke, isn't it, India?
Yeah, he has a big grasp on the water there, doesn't he? So he sweeps the hands out before he pulls those elbows kind of in towards the sides of the body before he shoots forward. So you can see that he does grasp the water really, really well. Again, you can compare them if you go back through these live streams as well. You can compare the way Dara swims, compare the way Oisin swims, the way Corby swims as well. So counting the number of strokes and just seeing how efficient they are as they go through these 50s on the 200-metre breaststroke.
He's out 64.1, so he's putting himself in a real decent position to post a good time. Entry time of 2:13.5.
Okay,
so that 2:11.6 is the World Championship consideration, so that'll be a big ask for him, but he'll be well looking for the under 23 time.
He knows exactly when he needs to kick down as well. We just saw him kind of pass that 50-metre mark coming into the wall, and he's definitely picked up on that stroke rate, so hitting the wall perfectly there. 34.75, decent third 50 split. Again, he's dominating this field on this second last heat, so let's see how he brings it home on this final 50, but I'm definitely seeing a good improve on the stroke rate there, David.
Yeah, I think it's a 2:12.92 for him to get to that European under 23 championships here in Dublin, so he's really picking up the pace now. Remember at the start I was talking about him gliding. Stop that now, and he's just picking up that rate, so he's moving through, so he's just got to get under that 2:12.9.
He's going to be just outside
just off
here.
Yeah, but not a bad swim. 2:14.4 for him.
Yeah, so probably not the time he was looking for there. Definitely did look like he might have been going for it, especially kind of coming into that third 50. He definitely picked up the stroke rate on the kind of last 50 metres of that third 50. I kind of felt like he wasn't really grasping as much water there, kind of coming into that final 50 there. So maybe he spun just a little bit too much towards that last 50, David?
Yes, maybe a wee bit, but I know Andy Bree talks about it. You have to up that rate at the end. You can't just keep gliding, so you've got to try and get something, but it's that sort of happy medium of between picking up the rate and holding the water and not sacrificing too much drag.
Absolutely.
But good swim for tonight. There'll be a good race tonight.
Yeah, he'll be returning back to the pool there, so again probably second fastest qualifier so far, but we're moving on to the final heat, and we have got Owen Corby going in as the fastest qualifier. His entry time here is a 2:12.82. How does he usually swim this race then, David? Owen
He
Corby
usually kind of hangs back. I'd say he's more back half dominant than front half dominant. But I mean, when you're swimming, when a swimmer does a fantastic swim, they're out quick anyway, because you can't do a really, really world class swim without being out fast.
Absolutely.
So I'd say he's more of a backhand kind of guy, but he's definitely a confident swimmer. If he's swimming well, if he's had a good meet, he just carries that wave of momentum. Matthew Hand as well, next to him. National Centre Ulster recently. Joined Kevin Anderson. So he had a good meet. He was good PB in that 100 breaststroke for him earlier in the week. And then Andrew Phelan as well.
Yeah, he's been having a good meet as well, hasn't he? So he's the only other person to be going below that 2:20 mark here. The National Centre Limerick, but original Sunday's well swimmer. So Be interesting to see how he takes it out as well. Again, lots of different tactics when it comes to the 200 breaststroke, but I guess our main focus here is going to be on Mr. Corby.
See what I mentioned earlier, folks, when there's a slight delay here, so all those swimmers, as soon as they found out there was a delay, all put their hoodies back on, all t-shirts back on. So that's what those girls not doing a fly will learn. You know, as they get more experience, more exposure to these kind of races, but all those middle guys straight away, as soon as they found out someone coming, just for only 30 seconds they had it on.
Yeah, because like you said, David, yesterday, remember Danielle Hill, they called them down off the blocks, but as soon as they blow the whistle, you can take 1 minute, you can take 5 minutes to get up on the block. So it's best for them to actually put their clothes back on, and even if it does take them time to, you know, to strip back down again, you know, like it's their race. So as soon as the whistle is blown, they can take as long as they want to get back up onto the blocks.
Absolutely, Corby looking in great shape. These athletes are also primed. Final heat of the men's 200 meter breaststroke, 2:12 currently the leading time for the finals tonight.
All right, so they're off, guys. Just quickly running down through those names again. We've got Killian Langton in 0. We've got Ben Norton in lane 1. We've got Patrick Curley in lane number 2. Matthew Hand in 3. Again, Owen Corby, fastest qualifier, 2:12.82. He takes lane number 4. Andrew Feenan in lane 5. Benji Cummins in 6. Cormac Rinn in 7. Deaton Regist in lane number 8. And Senan Harvey in lane number 9.
As expected, Corby out 30.5, so off. You want to be at 29 out tonight. 29 anything will be good, but he's kind of coasting a wee bit here, I think, maybe. But that really sort of straight arm pull, isn't it? There's not much elbow bend with Corby.
Yeah, we know the power from Corby here. He definitely does look controlled in that, but even still at a controlled rate. Look at that glide, look at that distance per stroke as well. So he is a strong lad. And let's just see what he goes for this first 100. So just change up the stroke a little bit there to hit the wall perfectly. Didn't really see that on screen, but 1:04.86. He's taking it out there for the first 100 metres.
Yeah, we expected him to take command, and we kind of expected Feenan and Matthew Hand to try and hang on to him a wee bit, but he will begin to accelerate now through this third 50 and show his dominance. A real snappy, whippy kick. You see his hips coming right out of the water there. I think it'll all be prepped for tonight's final, and that men's 200 meter breaststroke, always a stellar event here at the Irish Open Championships.
And it's always a benefit for these final swimmers. They kind of know what the previous swimmers have swum, especially if you're in the final heat. So Owen Corby knows exactly what he needs to do to make that kind of middle lane for this evening swim as well.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I think he'll just be going through the motions. To be honest, he comes quite high out of the water, doesn't he? But just so much power to be able to fly the chest through. But Feenan's having a nice swim too beside him.
Absolutely, it's nice for Feenan. He can pretty much swim off his shoulder now. Owen Corby not taking it out too hard, but looks like Feenan might just gain a little bit of ground here, kind of coming into the last few strokes.
Yeah, it might be Feenan with a touch actually. That is Feenan. 2:16.02 for Feenan. Slightly outside his best. And Corby at 2:16, well outside his best, but he'll be taking that easy and just preparing for tonight to really lay down the gauntlet.
Great swim there from Patrick Curley, actually. So he used to be an original ESB swimmer, but taking 3 seconds off his PB. So good job there, Paddy.
Good swimming there from majority of the boys. Trying to just get it done. Matthew Hand at a 2:22 there. Slight, unsure if it's a PB for him, but it's under his entry time. So there we go, 2:16.0. Our fastest qualifier will be a 2:12 in green, so expect Corby to be down around that mark tonight. Yeah, confirmation, Dara Green in first, Usain Cook in second position for tonight.
Yeah, it'll be a fantastic race between all those lads tonight, but I think it will be a good race there between Owen Corby and Dara Green for the 200 breaststroke title tonight.
It will be, yeah, and then the bronze medal will be up for grabs between a number of different swimmers, so
Usain Cook and Matthew Hand, Andrew Feenan, there'll be a good race between...
for bronze.
Yeah, for bronze.
Yep.
Right, so moving on to our final final event of this morning, folks. We are moving on to the women's 800 metre freestyle. So we've got our Irish senior record holder is still Gráinne Murphy, back in that 2010 swim of an 8:25.04, and our Irish junior record also set by Gráinne Murphy back in 2009 of an 8:36.63. So our fastest qualifier, who she'll only be swimming this evening, we've got our fastest heat swimming this evening, that's Grace Hodgins. She had a great swim there the other day in her 1500 metres, but she'll be taking the middle lane in heat number 4. So we're just going to run the first 3 heats of the 800 metre freestyle this morning.
So we had the men's 800 earlier in the week. Now we've got the women's coming up, and then the last distance event we'll have tomorrow will be the men's 1500.
Yeah, like we said, we had Nathan Whiffen take the 800 freestyle yesterday, 10-second PB, just outside the European qualifying time. So let's see what the girls can produce in their 800 free as well today.
Yeah, Grace Hodgins has been in a league of her own on these distance events. Winner of the 400, winner of the 1500, but the 800 is her specialty event.
Yeah, the only swimmer to be going below that 9-minute mark in this 800. But let's just have a quick look at the swimmers in heat number 1. So we've got Julia Jacek, sorry, pronounced that wrong, in lane 0. We've got Serka Nirian in lane number 1. Abril Allende in lane 2. We've got Niamh Kenny in lane 3. Abby Cunningham in lane number 4. Lauren McGrath in lane 5. Mia Mulholland in lane 6. We've got Antonia Sek in lane 7, and we've got Quiva Smith in lane number 8. So how do you think these swimmers are going to be taking out the 800 today?
I think just sort of all these swimmers won't have swam this morning. Well, majority of them won't have, because it's so taxing on the body in 800. So they'll have been in the warm-up pool just to the left of your screen there. Doing pace 50s, maybe a few pace 100s, just to kind of set the tone and the tempo up, just to let your body know that, prime it for when you dive in, that okay, this is the pace I need to be at. But I suppose because you're racing for so long, it's hard to know how fast you're going, so that's why they'll train tempo a lot. They'll train tempo, they'll train rate a lot. They'll know what stroke rate they have to have. So for those of you that don't know what a stroke rate is the number of stroke cycles you take per minute. So basically the amount of strokes you're taking. So, for anybody that swims, you can talk about a 35 stroke rate, or 50 stroke rate. Would obviously be more swimmers that would swim these events would know exactly what that is. So in the sprint events, usually in a 50 free, be up around near 60. A bit lower for the 100, down to maybe 51, 52 stroke cycles per minute. And then as the distance goes up, the stroke rate becomes less, because you can't just keep the rate too high. So it'll all be setting rates. These girls will be sitting in around, don't have a stopwatch, but they're sitting in around low 30 stroke rate, and just maintain that the whole way. Settle into the rhythm and just try and maintain that same rate the whole way, and just sort of go into a sort of trance state of swimming.
So we kind of spoke about before that how swimming has evolved, and that 50 metres and 100 metres are not the only kind of sprint events when it comes into the freestyle event. So we're also looking at the 200 kind of becoming more of a sprint event. So similar enough to what we were talking about yesterday, the 1500 and the 800, even though we would consider them both endurance events. We spoke about Nathan, how he's a very, very strong endurance swimmer, but that 800 is actually probably his better swim, because it is short. He can kind of produce a little bit more power when it comes to the kick and stuff. So 1500 and 800 have even kind of become quite different events as well.
They
so
definitely have, yeah.
So it's not just focusing kind of endurance, but these girls definitely want to be maintaining some sort of speed, some sort of power, I guess, through each 100. So really focusing on coming in, so they'll know the first 50 of their 100 splits, but it's making sure that second 50 is on point as well of each 100.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tough enough event. It's sort of, swimmers who swim it will say it's not tough. Like you mentioned earlier in the week, that when you train with distance swimmers, they actually enjoyed distance training more than sprint training. So when you're looking at it from a distance point of view, they probably enjoy it, and they look forward to thriving in this kind of more distance event. But this swimmer here has taken complete control. This is Niamh Kenny, the Aer Lingus swimmer. Aer Lingus, rich history of fast distance swimmers. We're coming up to the 300 metre mark. Just a 500 metres to go. Just. Can you imagine saying that?
Yeah, so 37.59 there for Niamh Kenny. She's splitting on, I like you were talking about there, David. So Aer Lingus have a great history of kind of the endurance events. So I know we've got Gráinne Murphy. She's probably one of our best endurance swimmer that we have in the women's event. But one of the main events that I'll never kind of forget was when we had a US team come over and they were racing Andrew Megan in that kind of the 1500 meters, and I think both of them were looking to break, was it that 16 minute barrier in that 1500, or
it might have been 16, yeah.
Yeah, but it was a fantastic atmosphere here
back
in
and
the
forth,
NAC.
back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching Andy Megan at a number of different competitions. You know, didn't have the, he won't mind me saying this, didn't have the prettiest looking stroke in the world, but he was so fit and he had such great grit that sort of carried him through. But then he was kind of the leader of distance swimming for Ireland for a long time. Then Daniel Wiffens came and just completely obliterated all records.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
similar personalities between the two, weren't they? So Andrew Megan, a very kind of shy, timid character, and then we've got the likes of Daniel. He is a confident lad, but also just a very lovely lad, very happy just to be swimming and stuff like that.
Happy-go-lucky kind of attitude.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Halfway here, Niamh Kenny taking the lead. Cunningham, good battle going on for kind of the second place here in this heat. They're all kind of bunched up a wee bit, so expect another few changes in this race by the end.
Again, our fastest qualifiers into this heat are Abby Cunningham and Niamh Kenny, so they're both going at 10:08. Actually, our middle three lanes are going to go that have an entry time of 10:08.98. So I'm sure all of them will be looking to break that 10-minute barrier for the first time. Again, major barrier for the first time for these 800-meter swimmers. And like we spoke about before, 8 seconds isn't actually that significant a drop, I guess, when it comes to an 800 meters. It's only a second per 100. So I'm sure they'll all worked on that pace in the pool. So kind of sticking around the 39 seconds, so slightly slower than what we started off on that first 400. So these guys are probably going to want to try and get back to that 38-second barrier now for these last 300 meters.
Yeah, they are. All our coaches will be up there writing down exactly what every 50 they've done, so they can compare and look back at other races and training times. And swimming has become so much focused on the data of how you can get better, whether it's blood lactates, whether it's times, whether it's strength in the gym, whether it's how high you can jump, how much weight you can lift. There's all correlations to how to get faster. And the more data you collect, the more you have to compare, and the better off you'll be, because you'll be able to sort of see what improvements can be made.
Absolutely. Even the likes of these kind of like streaming channels now as well, the fact that they can look back on their races, like we've got the likes of our underwater cameras that you can look at your underwater work. You've got the likes of these streaming events also looking at international events as well. And I know every swimmer has kind of their individual strokes and stuff, but it's nice to be actually, like, there's no point in having the data if you can't actually analyze it compared to other swimmers as well. So
exactly.
Yeah,
definitely. So we're really, really lucky to have that. It's a simple way to get better. Look at yourself back swimming. Well, lane number 4 is Abby Cunningham. Is just sneaking up on Kenny. Again, just lurking.
You'll start to notice these girls, they're kind of all breathing to the one side as well. So we did see yesterday we had some swimmers that were actually able to breathe to both sides. That was a big advantage to the two of them.
Yeah, so coming in now to the last quarter of this race. And it's really bunching up now. It is Kenny and Cunningham. Looking really, really close. And they'll be eyeballing each other now for this last 200 metres.
Yeah, this is when they're really going to start to kick down now, David. And so we spoke about that with the men's 800 yesterday. So with the 1500, we kind of spoke about the last 50 is when you're going to start to see a stroke rate increase. But on the 800, they haven't swam as long, so they should really be focusing kind of maybe towards the last 150 metres where they start to increase that stroke rate, start to increase that kick.
So what did you kind of take away from... I wasn't commentating last night. Oh, you weren't commentating last night either, were you?
I wasn't commentating last night either.
I was going to say about how Nathan kind of swam that 800 and what sort of approach he took. I was doing the interviews down on poolside, so I was back and forth, so I missed the majority of that race, but keen to watch it back to sort of see how he kind of approached it.
Again, I'm sure he had both his brothers poolside anyway to kind of chat to him about
Definitely
his event.
Definitely, mum and dad.
Yeah, Daniel.
Vlogging the whole way.
Absolutely, Daniel probably on pool deck, and then his brother Ben, the strength and conditioning coach there, again, spoke about it yesterday. Very much a family affair here for the Nathan twins.
Well, here's the bell coming in. Abby Cunningham. 8:44.5, so she's entered on a 10:08, so she's going to be well under her best. Like India said, looking to get under that 10-minute mark.
I'm sure they're loving that sound of the Saviour Bell. You know, they just need to have another 75 metres to go. So strong swim again here from this Kilkenny swimmer, Abby Cunningham. She's really started to take that lead. So let's see how she finishes this last 50. So let's just have a quick look at this split and see if she's picked up that pace. So again, she's hitting around 38.39 and she's turning down a 37.01. So yeah, she definitely has started to pick up that stroke rate. You can see that kick behind her is really starting to hammer down now for this last kind of 30 metres or so.
Yeah, she needs to lay the hammer down here, really, to get under that 10-minute mark. She can't afford to be any slower than a 39. Don't think she will be. I think she will sneak under that 10-minute mark. Coming in obviously with a best time of 10:08.44. She's gonna get under that. Hope she gets under the 10. Come on, Abby.
She'll definitely be under that 10-minute. Go on, Abby. Finish into the wall strong.
Yeah, good girl. 9:57, 9:4. Well done, Abby. Under that 10-minute mark, she's happy. Yeah.
She's happy. Yeah, 10-minute barrier is a big one to break, isn't it, for the first time in an 800-meter free?
Absolutely. Yeah. So next time you do that, Abby, you'll have a 9 next to it, not a 10.
So if she's breaking that 10-minute barrier, she's pretty much hitting like kind of like just sub 115 per 100 as well. So I'm sure she's been training that quite a lot in the pool. So probably doing a lot of 100 intervals, maybe sticking around the 120 mark, and that just seeing how consistent she can be with those paces as well. So her training has definitely stood for her there to break that 10-minute barrier.
Yeah, definitely. And we should see the majority of swimmers in the next heat breaking the 10-minute barrier. Oh, we've got 4 who are already seated under 10 minutes. Then you've got a lot 10:01s, 10:05. So you should see good few go under 10, maybe all 8, who knows.
Yeah, again, we spoke about 800 being quite an individual race, I guess, and you know they all have their own tactics and stuff. But again, we said when you know that your competitor beside you can kind of break that 10-minute barrier, and you've got a few swimmers, so we've got 4 swimmers breaking the 10-minute barrier, you've got 6 swimmers just outside that 10-minute barrier. They probably are going to be looking to their left or to their right to see if they can kind of maintain that pace as well.
Yeah, swimming off someone's always nice. Just sort of see what they're going, use them as kind of an anchor point.
And so just
on the heat 2 here.
Just got the officials changing the boards down the end. So again, David and I explained that yesterday. So on the 800 and the 1500, you've got the boards down the far end of the pool. This is just so the swimmers can have a quick look, see how far they are into that 800 meters. So again, just a quick glance over their shoulder after they finish their turn. But it is that bell on the last 100 meters that they're really going to be looking for. So they'll be alerted to when they have that last 100.
And we're away. Second heat of 3 just this morning on the women's 800 meter freestyle. The fastest heat will be swum tonight as part of the finals. But in lane number 0, we have Lara King of Swim Belfast. The Banbridge swimmer Anna McKernan is next to her in lane number 1. Ava Nolan, lane 2. Lane 3, Lily Markey of St. Faix. Lane number 4, Kiva Doyle, the 17-year-old from Aer Lingus. The 15-year-old Ava Rock is next to her. Liana Ledan of lane 6. Lane number 7, Amelia Ryan of Temple Oak. The 16-year-old from Limerick, Aoife Ferrick, is in lane 8, and rounding out the field is Eva Walsh of Temple Oak.
Yeah, so we're turning there at the first 50 metres, so kind of sticking around anywhere between a 32 low and a 33 high. So again, we spoke about before, we had those swimmers sticking around that 38-second barrier per 50. So if these girls want to be breaking that 10-minute barrier, again, they're going to be looking to go sub 115 per 100. So that means anywhere kind of that 37 low to 37, no higher than 37.5 really, if they want to be significantly going underneath that 10-minute mark as well. So let's just see how they turn on this first 100 metres. They'll be settling into their rhythm after, I guess, 200. So Ava Rock taking the first 100 in a 107.31. We know that pace will slightly slow down on this second 100 as well, but I guess she's just kind of trying to find her position in the field here.
Like I mentioned yesterday, the swimmers on these distance events will there'll be 1 or 2 that'll sort of push it the first 100, 200, and then they'll just sort of stay, won't they? And then the whole field actually won't be repping much different per 50 after about 200-300 meters until maybe the last 100. So you always have one swimmer that'll go for it a wee bit more at the start, and that looks like it's Ava Rock here today.
Absolutely. I think I did a few 800s, and I guess my tactic when I swam the 800 meters was actually just building on 100. So I did a lot of build work when it came to my training. So, maybe actually not going out as fast on that first 100, but then trying to build every single 100. I was definitely more, you'll start to see with some swimmers, some are chasers and some are leaders, aren't they, when it comes to swimming. So you'll have certain swimmers that don't mind kind of hanging back a little bit and then really actually trying to catch that person behind you. And you'll see that a lot in relays. You'll see who's a chaser and who's a leader when it comes to relays. So again, you can use that kind of tactic as well in an 800 too.
Yes, absolutely. There'll be all these swimmers, even though they'll swim off each other, they'll all have their own game plan. They'll all know, I need to be out this pace, I need to have this rate. So they'll all sort of stick to their own game plan and try and stick to it as best they can and not get dragged into a race. Sometimes it's not a bad thing to get dragged into a race, but not all the time. You don't want that to devolve from your game plan. But you see all the coaches on the pool deck there, sort of giving encouragement. Different to another event, isn't it, where maybe it's only 100, so there's you're not really going to see. There's a lot more splash. As you breathe, you maybe not be able to see the coach, but on this, when there's more clear water, you can see, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice that they can have we can actually have the coaches back on deck as well, because again, that was taken away from us during that COVID period too. But like you said, sometimes it is nice for these swimmers to kind of, I guess, be pulled along from the start as well. So you have some swimmers that will take it out a little bit faster, and I guess especially with an 800 meters, you can settle, I guess, into a comfortable rhythm. But for some of these swimmers, it's about getting comfortable with being uncomfortable in their swims as well. So getting outside of their comfort zone and knowing how hard they can push too. So, this kind of competition as well, it's nice for these swimmers to be competing against these competitors and understanding what it is like to be uncomfortable as well.
Yeah, India absolutely nailed it. To get better at anything, not only swimming, anything in life, you're going to have to be uncomfortable at it for a while. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable, as she just said. But I think Ava Rock is not going to look back here. There's absolutely no way she's going to lose this. It'll be a real turnout if she doesn't win this heat. Crazier things have happened.
And like we spoke about before, she's got a good breathing style there. She's kind of keeping it quite low to the water. She's breathing 1 and 2. She's got a good stretch out on that right hand, and then just kind of continues that motion with the left. So not seeing much of a kick. She kind of kicks quite strong off the first 50, and then she uses those legs for balance a little bit more. So I guess, yeah, Ava's definitely been working hard on this 800 meters as well.
Yeah, built up such a lead. You don't see swimmers lose with a lead like this. But if you're feeling bored after the stream, you just don't know what to do with yourself during the day, you're just waiting around for the finals and you just can't think of anything to do, go and have a look at the women's 200 meter breaststroke from Rome 2009. Women's 200 meter breaststroke, Rome 09 World Championships. There was a swimmer in that race, Rebecca Stoney, who was the world record holder, world champion, Olympic champion, and she went out like an absolute train. I mean, she was half the pool ahead in a 200. She's so unbelievably far ahead. Like, you're like, there's no way she would lose. You bet the house on it she's not going to lose. Like 25 to go, she must be 10 meters ahead, and she ties up so badly.
Oh God.
She gets touched out. Watch it. It's one of the most unbelievable races ever. And a swimmer from lane 7, I think it's Naja Hidjel of Slovenia, I think it was, won it. But afterwards, Sony, she went out pretty much a world record for the 100 and the 200. She just thought, I'm just going to try something different and go for it. And she absolutely blew up. It's pretty funny to watch, actually.
So we exactly know how this fountain of knowledge, Dave Thompson, knows all his races. He goes in between the sessions and watches them all. But quite impressive, all the names and all the times that you have there, David. Yeah, absolutely.
It's been my whole life, so.
Swimming enthusiast.
Yeah. But Ava Rock's not going to do Rebecca Stoney and lose this one. She's coming through really nicely here.
Yeah,
coming into the 300 meter mark.
Yeah, so she's looking really,
500.
She's looking smooth, she's looking comfortable, and again, she's kind of sticking around that 36.64 for those 50s. So it definitely does look like she'll be bringing that entry time down. So again, her entry time 9:54.53. So yeah, it looks like she'll be going underneath that if she keeps this pace, and she can really hammer home on that last 100 meters as well.
Yeah, really, it's not a race anymore. It's just a training set for her almost. She's so far ahead. But interesting to see. That's a different shot there of one of the outside lanes. But when you're swimming like this out on your own, it almost replicates a training session, doesn't it? You've got nothing to swim off. You're literally just swimming off your own feeling of lactate, your own feeling of momentum. So her legs are going actually quite strongly, which is good to see.
Absolutely. And like you said, David, so you can like these girls are obviously going to be training this pace as well. That's the reason why we call it training. There's no way you're going to like be able to swim slower in training and then come here and produce faster times. So these girls know exactly what they need to be doing. So yeah, this Ava Rock here, she knows exactly what she's doing. Even if she is swimming off on her own, she's trained this a million times before. So yeah, she looks like she's coming into is this 600 meters now? She's coming into it. Is 600 meters.
Yeah, 600 meter mark.
Last 200
Still
meters to
keeping
go.
that fast flip turns. Good to see. The underwater work off the turns on the 800 and the 1500 not as important. Don't need to be kicking underwater and getting into too much oxygen depth, but
I think she's got a good technique there though. So she kind of does her turn, she pushes off, and then I think with her first 3 strokes she does give a good hammer down in her kick. So I'm guessing that's just to maintain her speed, because sometimes you can switch off as well on that 800 as well, so you can start to reduce back on that speed too.
Yeah, you don't want to you do not want to decelerate coming in and out of the turn. The amount of time you can lose in between the flags there is huge. Let's see if anything you said there. Yeah, big kick to kind of get her going and then sort of settle back. That's an interesting tactic, that. So she's on an entry time of 9:54.53, so should obliterate that.
So the officials changing those boards down to their final 100, so you'll start to hear the bell. So again, we've got officials both ends of the field here, so some are just making sure that stroke is on point, that they're definitely hitting that wall as well. Those are the only really 2 points that you can get disqualified on, I guess, in that 100 front crawl, is not hitting the wall appropriately. But it's been a very well run event as well, hasn't it? So thank you to all the volunteers and all the officials, and the likes of Andrew Bree there doing the commentating live on the bank as well. It wouldn't be as well a run event if we didn't have the likes of them.
No, absolutely. Good to keep the atmosphere at the end of the session. You know, of course, a lot of swimmers will have gone home now because they'll have done their races and they'll not be hanging about. As exciting as this 800 is, they'll not want to hang about. Get home. Here we go, Ava Rock. Coming in.
Yeah, she's definitely started to pick up that pace again. She's kind of sticking around the 36 mid. She's still around that 36 mid, so I think she's going to have to hammer home now in this last 50 meters.
Yeah, she's going to hammer home, be well under that 10-minute mark, which is great to see. I think she's going to be the only one though. Maybe only one other one, which is interesting because there's a number of 9-minute entries. She's so far ahead here. She'll have a wee wait when she finishes, but it's a great swim.
She's going to be smashing her entry time again. Entry time of a 9:54.53. Looks like she's going to be breaking even that 9:40 barrier mark as well. And she does in a 9:38.78. Amazing swim there, Ava Rock.
Yeah, massive drop. Here Andrew Bree talking on live there. Huge drop in time. So let's see if anybody else can dip under that 10-minute mark. Surely. It's not come up yet. Mystery. Yeah, we got 9:55 and 9:58. Yeah, we got 3 dipping under, which was nice to see. Before the last heat, where they're all sub 10-minute girls. See a lot of the same swimmers doing all the distance events. We got, of course, Grace Hodgins. We'll be looking tonight to qualify for the European under-23s.
Yeah, lane number 7 there, Emily Ryan. I think she's just lost her hat there, kind of towards that 800 meters. Nothing worse than losing a hat or losing goggles on such a long swim as well. No, whatever about a 50, you just put your head down. But 800 meters to lose your hat or lose your goggles, that's a disappointing swim, I'm sure, for Emily Ryan there.
I once pretended I had cramp on an 800 freestyle and just got out. Do not do that, swimmers.
After how long?
Do not do that, swimmers. That was me in a bad place. I pretended I had cramp, but it was the most obvious I was faking it because I just walked out.
Just walked off the pool deck.
After about 100, yeah. Oh dear.
What was it? Coach forcing you to swim in 800 or decided to enter? And then
probably something like that, and I was like not feeling it, but I'm not as tough as these girls were. But final heat of this morning session, penultimate day of the Irish Open Championships here in Dublin.
Yeah, so we've got the final heat of this morning swim entering into the water now. So again, these girls going to settle into that rhythm probably in the first 200 metres. So we'll start to see who's going to take the clear lead after about that 200 metre mark. But we do have Jessica Purcell as our fastest qualifier for this morning swim. She is the 15-year-old from Aer Lingus in a 9:41.08. She had quite a good 1500 there the other day as well. We've also got Nessa Godden as well from Kilkenny. Assuming that might be a sister to Maria Godden, 16-year-old from Kilkenny.
I think it is, because I interviewed Maria Godden for the winner of the 200 metre women's 200 metre backstroke, and then in the hotel I was in the lift with someone who looked really like Maria Godden, and I was like, I don't want to say hello in case it's not Maria, and it wasn't, it was her sister. So yeah, that will definitely be her in this 800 metre freestyle.
Very nice to see family affairs all around them. We've already spoken about the Whiffen brothers, and now we have the Godden sisters as well. So it might be nice, you know, if you have a sibling to go home to, I guess, and actually chat about your swim training too. So we know Maria's probably not swimming with Kilkenny anymore. She's National Centre Limerick now, isn't it? So, but even having, Nessa having Maria to chat to about her swimming as she's coming through her own kind of speciality events as well. So.
And Nessa's father actually does the announcing alongside Andrew Bray as well. So they're all involved. And yeah, she's just taking a nice wee lead here. Did your brothers ever swim? They did, didn't they?
They did, yeah. So I used to have both of my brothers kind of swimming alongside when we were in ESB. So Rory now has transferred over. He's the head coach now of ESB. So ESB have a few swimmers here swimming in the Irish Open Championships, and then also had Sam McGlynn as well. He competed in similar events to myself actually, and I think the only reason I probably got into competitive swimming was because my two brothers are swimmers as well. So I have 3 older brothers. Didn't want them to be better at me than anything when I was growing up. So probably the only reason I actually got into swimming. I was the kid, in the Learn to Swim program that got out with a sore toe or a runny nose. I never really enjoyed swimming as a 4-year-old, but as soon as I saw my brothers getting better, I was like, nah, gotta beat you guys as well.
You're not letting them have that one?
Not letting them have it.
Coming in this 200 metre mark, quite tight actually. Nobody kind of... It's going to be Amy Dawson, I think, of Lisburn. 2:19.6 out. Now they're going to want to settle in and just hold that pace. These swimmers will be so in tune, in time with their body. They'll know exactly what they've got left. They'll know what they've got in the tank, if they need to pick it up, if they don't. And they'll try and spot their coaches on pool deck there, seeing, and the coaches will maybe tell them to speed up, slow down, or give them a thumbs up to say they're good.
Yeah, each coach has their own kind of indicators. So you hear some coaches, they kind of whistle, and they'll whistle faster if they want their swimmers to kind of pick up that pace. You've got some that just give hand gestures and that kind of thing. So I know that Bill, my original coach, he just stayed silent, wasn't even on pool deck. So it was kind of just like swim your own race. But I guess, what about yourself? What was your kind of coach's cue for you when you were swimming? But you were a sprint event,
I was
so
a sprinter,
you didn't really get any of those kind of coaching cues, I guess.
I didn't really speak to my coach before races.
If you do want to hear a loud mouth, it would be my brother Rory McGlynn. You'll hear him poolside absolutely everywhere, but he'll be screaming for all swimmers. So yeah, you'll hear the loud scream of the head coach of ESB.
Yeah, some coaches louder than others.
I'll never forget Beth Carson's dad at all competitions.
Oh, yeah.
You'll never forget the screams of Beth Carson's dad.
And the whistling, remember the whistling?
The whistle on him, yeah.
Only dogs could hear him by the end. But here we go. It's Purcell, sort of taking the lead here. Nessa Godden has kind of slipped back a wee bit, but that's okay. Long race, long way to go.
Yeah, they'll be coming up to the halfway point now. So again, similar enough, these girls will be settling into their paces now. We've kind of seen around maybe 36, 37. So be interesting to see if they can maintain it coming into the second half of this race. So 9 lengths to go. They're still, 36.2. That's a decent pace there for Jessica Purcell. Again, she had a strong swim in that 1500 metre yesterday as well. And again, she is that Aer Lingus swimmer too. So we know that she has got that coach, Alan Turner in Aer Lingus, a very, very accomplished endurance coach there. So as long as she can maintain that speed, she'll have a strong second half for her swim as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Field really spread out now. This final heat of the morning session. We're looking forward to a number of finals tonight. And then tomorrow, some great events too. We've got the men's 50 freestyle coming up tomorrow. See if Tom Fannin can replicate that 21.95. He set in the first 50 of the 100 metre freestyle on day 2, I think it was.
It was. Then we have Callum Bain then going in.
Callum Bain going for that too.
He'll
Callum
have a
Bain
second
just
chance.
recently moved to Dublin, so interesting to see how that sort of change of programme, change of area, change of everything really, how he's coping with that. So he was a 22.3 in that when he kind of went for it, so right around sort of his best of a 22.1.
It'll be nice to have the two boys side by side though. I guess that'll probably drag them on a little bit more, having Fannin and Callum Bain alongside each other in that 50 metre freestyle.
And both very different kind of swimmers. Fannin immensely fast across the water. Not that Callum isn't fast across the water, but Callum's got a really world-class start. So Callum carries his speed so well through that 25 and kind of hangs on a wee bit more. Whereas Fannin has maybe a slightly worse start, but he just accelerates through. So he's more of a back half 50 guy as opposed to a front half 50 guy and kind of hanging on.
So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we had a couple more qualification times than that. And we've had a fantastic weekend so far of qualification times, both for European juniors, for our European under-23s, for our World Championships, also Irish and junior records being set. So hopefully we might get a few more this evening, and then yeah, like you said, tomorrow we've got some fantastic races as well. So it's been a really, really solid 4 days so far of swimming. So yeah, looking forward to kind of finishing this event strong as well.
Yeah, and tonight will be good to see Grace Hodgins in action. Really, really lovely girl. Didn't really know her before this competition, but lovely manner about her. Interviews really, really well, and just always has a smile on her face. Somehow has a smile on her face after a 1500. We're coming in now to up to the last kind of 200 metres, 250 or so metres, and it's Purcell who's taking the lead here.
Yeah, we've got Purcell taking the lead, but we also have her teammate Anna out there in lane number 2. She's kind of hanging on. I know she's probably about 2 body lengths behind now, but again, we all know that everything can change in that last 200 metres. It's about who can really hammer down, and let's just see how these splits are going now. But it does look like Jessica is starting to pick up that stroke rate just a little bit, so we'll have a look at what her splits are now. So still sticking around that 36-second mark, but let's have a look at Anna's splits as well. 37.39, so she's going to have to pick up that pace just a little bit if she wants to catch her teammate Jessica in that middle lane.
Yeah, it'd be a tough ask, I think, to come back at Purcell, but you never know. Now they'll be thinking about picking it up and going a wee bit more now, coming to the end of that race, and they'll know it's coming to the end. It's just about timing of when you make that switch to the legs and switch to the more anaerobic energy system.
Yeah, it's, again, we've spoken about it in previous races. It is about finding that sweet spot, because if you do start to hammer down too early, they are going to start to tie up just a little bit. So these girls again, being teammates, they know exactly who's going to take off first. So I think hopefully both of them can start to turn to each other's side. They'll be able to use that kind of friendly competition and really pull themselves home. So again, it's not just about racing your competitors, it's also about pulling your competitors along as well and getting outside your comfort zone as well. But Jessica still has the clear lead, still about 2 body lengths ahead, and they will be coming up to this final 100 metres. They'll get to hear that bell, so we'll see if that stroke rate and that pace really does start to pick up. So first bell is heard there for lane number 4. Jessica just switching now into that final 100 metres, and she's turning here. Oh, no pace coming up there for her, and no pace coming up for lane number 2. So let's just see how they get on in this last 100 metres.
Yeah, the saviour bell, as India calls it, coming in for these girls now, but they'll be putting the hammer down. Really, you see the rate being up for Jessica Purcell there. Keeping that leg kick going, that's the tough part here. Keeping the legs going consistently when you breathe, not letting them pause too much. You sort of see what lane 2 is trying to get something going. Nikoshinka. She just needs to, you see how she's kicking a bit and then stopping and kicking a bit and stopping. Something for her to work on is definitely just to keep that kick constant. Really hard to do though, a lot easier said than done. But it's going to be Purcell hanging on.
Yeah, Jessica just turning there in a 9:02. So again, her splits have been around a 36. So does look like she's going to be breaking her entry time. Again, her entry time for the 15-year-old is a 9:41.08. So you can start to hear those coaches really starting to pick up the atmosphere here on deck. But it is Jessica, and she finishes in a 9:37.07. So 4-second PB over an 800 metres. So that's a really strong swim. And again, just 15 years of age, the Aer Lingus swimmer.
Yeah, fantastic swim, fantastic experience. She'll have learned so much, not only from getting faster, but the actual experience of tactically swimming that race. So every time these swimmers swim, they learn something. You learn something. Even if you swim badly, you learn. That's a great swim there.
So Liam, probably a good confidence boost for her there. With that time, she would have been the last entered into the heat 4. So again, good confidence for her moving into her next competition, long course competition.
Yeah, all these swimmers just wanting to move it on in any way they can. But there you have it. We will have the fastest heat of that tonight. Grace Hodgins, who's considerably faster than anybody else. Expect her to take the 3-peat and win the 4, 8 and 15. But that concludes our coverage this morning of the heats of the Irish Open Swimming Championships 2023. Some really good races to look forward to tonight. India, what are you most looking forward to?
I think I'm most looking forward to the breaststroke event between the two lads, so between Corby and Dara.
I think that'll be fantastic.
Absolutely.
And the 100 back will be great too.
Yeah,
okay,
definitely.
folks, thanks so much. Thanks, India. We'll see you back
Steve.
later here at 5. Thank you.